Does it actually show up for you on your side as well?
It does show up for my side as well.
Amazing. I'm really happy.
Thanks. Yeah.
Disappointed! Play the intro. Please. No, it's not for kids. This show's not for kids generally.
What's that?
I said no, this show's not for kids.
Living in Melbourne, enjoying life. I'm gay, hanging out.
Sorry to hear.
This is our average life. Doing a podcast. Talking shit.
Look at that well, you're trying to tell me to
Why do
say
I
something.
care?
Why would I care? Hi, welcome back to a Why Do I Care episode of the Average Blokes Podcast.
Yes. What's going on? Why is this monitor not working?
Because it needs to be monitored.
I didn't notice. Yeah, but... Oh, I see. I see what happened. Hold on a second.
Do you?
Yeah, so just got to be extra careful. I had to adjust my desk for... I'll tell you in a minute, but it's higher than it should be.
Yes.
So it's actually like... That's why you can see this.
Mm-hmm.
That's why you can see this, because it's actually up to my chest height.
Right.
But to do that, I had to actually plug it in.
Okay. That would help, I guess. Well, once he fixes that, hi everyone, welcome back to, like I said, an Who Cares episode.
It's not a broken thing, Jackson.
Not yet. I mean, not that we know of. Yes, while Troy's fixing his monitor plug. Hi. Yes, we are back with another episode. We've got a guest coming up in this episode, so we're going to start off a little bit earlier with some small talk that is kind of small, but not really. It's not going to be morally small. It's just going to be smallish. Because people like having small talk. And generally it leads to like conversations about highlights, conversations about Troy's crack, which we can't see. I just thought I'd say to make him feel self-conscious. And to get him to reappear from the abyss that is below his desk. But yes, we are glad that you're here. A little bit of housekeeping before we get started. We are streaming live on the Average Blokes YouTube channel. It should be there to search. If you want to get involved in the chat, you are more than welcome to do so. We have also a link for a Google Docs form for you to fill out if you want us to talk about anything in particular or any questions. I mean, it's not a cry for help for content because we are pretty okay with having to find content. But just in case
What are
if
you
want to get
saying?
input.
What was that? A cry for help?
You could say that.
Also, actually, I had the printer unplugged the whole time to adjust the desk, so I think the monitor's just dead.
Yeah, okay, well, that's unfortunate. Rip that monitor. So, yes, we'll get into some highlights shortly. However, I don't know what Troy's doing. He's trying to fix something. But, what it is, we'll never know.
I don't know why the monitor's broken. I just told you. I said the monitor. This whole time I've been looking at the monitor. It's a bit weird. You don't know what I'm fixing. The monitor, Jackson.
You'll never guess it. Monitor. Yeah, so, and also in the small housekeeping, check out the YouTube channels for no reason. And there's no Instagram account yet.
It's not a cry for help.
No. Why would that be a cry for help? That would be weird.
So, when I say, hold on a second, I just got to do this, I just got to check out the desk and unplug something and plug something back in, you don't need to comment on it, Jackson. A little bit of advice. You don't need to go, oh, while Troy's down there fixing his desk, just continue.
Yes, well, I was trying to. But anyway. Highlights, Troy. You got any highlights?
No. You do your highlights first.
You want me to do my highlights? Well, considering it's a short week, I think a highlight is that we're doing 2 episodes in 1 week, which is kind of nice.
We haven't done 2 episodes in 1 week.
Ever.
No, we haven't.
No, we have never.
No, we didn't.
No, we haven't.
You said, okay, why are you saying that we have then?
No, because we are doing 2 episodes this week.
But we're not, is what I'm saying.
Not. Oh.
Were you planning on doing one tomorrow?
No, but if you think about it, we did an episode on Tuesday. Did you forget we did an episode this week?
It wasn't on Tuesday. It was on the weekend last week.
Oh, it's on Sunday. Oh, wait, are you those people who thinks the week starts on the Sunday or the Monday?
No, I'm not one of those people that thinks. I'm one of those people that goes, Monday is the start of the week. It's the
Well then.
start of the working week.
Yes, I guess so. I'm not going to go into that because that's.
Are you one of those people that thinks that Sunday is the first day of the week?
Yes.
Because
Yes.
Bible.
No, not naturally. I like to think.
Because didn't God rest on the Sunday?
Correct, on the 7th day.
Okay, so what day did he start work? Say it, Jackson.
The day
What does Garfield
after
hate?
Sunday.
What does Garfield hate, Jackson? What does Garfield hate?
The day before Tuesday.
That's right. Now say it. Say it in a Scottish accent.
It's Monday, isn't it?
This Monday.
Really,
No.
that wasn't Scottish. Anyway.
It's Solomon Grundy was born on a Sunday, rised on a Monday.
Yeah.
Anyway, I didn't count that. That's why that episode was recorded on that day, because it was meant to be it was the one day that week you were back.
All right. Post in the comments below if you think Sunday is the first day of the week or Monday is the first day of the week.
Yeah, and also let us know if you fold the paper towel or if you scrunch.
Ugh, if you
Toilet paper,
scrunch
I
it,
mean.
how dare you? What's wrong with you?
A lot of people scrunch it.
I know.
I remember having, I wouldn't even call it an argument, because we in high school we all talked about it, but it was like, are you a folder or a scruncher? And this one guy I knew was like, yeah, you fold. Why wouldn't you fold? I'm like, I'm the same. Like, what do you mean? And another guy goes, no, you scrunch it. And I go, why would you scrunch it? And he goes, because if you scrunch it, you're able to get it into all the hard to reach places.
What's hard to reach?
And I go, no, you fold it and you can get everywhere. Like, no, yeah, exactly. I'm like, what are you talking about? Hard to reach places. And I go, no, if you fold it, you can get it anywhere. Or you can get it, and then you just fold it the 2 pieces over. Or if you've got really, really thin toilet paper, 20 pieces, but 20 folds. And then you continue, and it's more efficient. And then then we moved on to standing up and sitting down.
Yeah. Okay.
Do you stand when you wipe, or do you sit?
No, sit.
I stand.
Oh, well, good for you. I'm glad that you
I
take a stand for yourself.
I stand for Gaza. I stand for Palestine.
You stand for getting blocked from Isabel.
Yes, I know. Well, that was quick.
Yeah, congratulations.
For getting blocked. It's quite easy to get blocked by a socialist.
It's like every. I mean, if she was on Twitter, she'd get blasted to death. Like, she would not last 5 seconds.
Yeah, on Twitter maybe, but on no, she'd just fall into an echo chamber. She would find her people.
She would find him easily. Yeah. She's one of them. One of them.
Did you like the little thing? She goes, "Bring a flag, Troy," and she posts a little Palestinian
I'll
flag.
buy you a coffee if you bring a
If
flag.
you bring a flag, and I'm like,
How enticing.
and I'm like, yeah, I'll bring a flag, and I post a little Israeli one. Oh, that might be our guest.
Points for you for trying.
Yeah.
Oh, do we need to send him a link?
Yeah, we are. In fact, we've just started. We were going to do it for half an hour and then have you come on, but if you want to come on now.
Yeah, that's perfectly fine. How do you want me to jump on? I can't have a video, but I can talk.
Let's, Jackson can, actually, I'll just copy the link.
Yes, do that. Yeah, that should work.
All right. Give me 2 seconds.
We are so professional that the person that we're having and hosting is getting the average professional job.
Wait, can I? Oh, I can copy it on my phone.
Yes, you could just copy on your phone.
See that? See what you just did there? See how you
Yeah,
don't
it's
do
like,
that.
Joey, you know what it's
Jackson,
like? It's like
Jackson, don't do that.
it's like when you do like a 1,000-word essay where you're using filler words to get the 1,000 words. That's exactly what I do.
Yeah,
But
I can just show my phone. Yeah, you can do that, didn't you?
Yeah.
So Phil Jackson's just being Jackson.
Correct. If it
All
wasn't
right,
for me, I don't know who it would be.
All right, let's see how it goes.
Okay, yeah. So
Okay.
I need to do a few things actually. So while we wait for our guest, I need to do
Oh, he
some
might have to
quick-
download the app. I didn't think of that.
No, he doesn't have to. That's a good point actually. While we bring him on, I'm going to check up the federal election for that area they're from. Right, because I was going to look up. So basically, for those who don't know, despite what the title of this episode is called, we're going to be mainly
What's the title?
To, the Troy named this episode the title episode.
What? That's dumb. Why'd you do that?
Well, why did you say it?
I said make it the title episode, not Troy named this episode the title episode.
Well, too bad. That's what it is now. So yeah, so we've had the federal election just recently in Australia, and on Sunday we recorded an episode mainly talking about my trip to Darwin, but instead we're now going to be talking about the big news of the story, which is a few days late, almost a week late.
All right, but before that, we'll quickly go through my highlights. Washing machine broke down, so we had
Oh
to
yeah, have
use
fun with that.
we had to use the washing machine around the like washing machine place. We went there today and
Laundromat.
walked around the shops and all that and bought ramen. That's udon. Wait,
Yeah, udon ramen.
we bought ramen. No, it's different. Ramen for dinner.
Hi, everybody. How's it going?
Good. Hello.
Okay, good. How's it? Oh, it works great. Look at that.
Yeah, look at his face. It looks like the letter P.
Well, this is our guest speaker.
Yes,
Phil,
face, but that's quite
this is our
okay.
guest speaker, Phil. Now, Phil, we're live, but don't be nervous, okay?
Yeah.
You shouldn't have told me that. I'm freaking out now.
And
I
don't
won't talk about your mum.
And don't talk nervous.
Jackson, how many times? I was actually waiting for you to say that. Yeah, thank you. That actually broke the ice. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're
Phil,
welcome.
Phil called me when I spoke to Phil earlier. He goes, "Oh, just tell Jackson I'm not going to do any of those jokes. I want him to understand I'm not.
Yeah,
I
that's
don't
okay.
want to be offensive or not offensive. You don't want to." When I told him how you felt about them, Jackson, he was very understanding.
Yeah, no, the banter level is a bit extreme.
No,
That's a bit extreme. Oh, Jackson, you're such a softie.
Sweetheart.
You're such a sweetheart.
no.
Just because I love my mother. No, just it's fine.
Hey, I love my mum too.
That's great. We should all love our mums.
Well, I'm glad two of us do.
So,
I'm glad some people love their mum.
All Troy's mother does is ring him to come to our place, say, "Oh, don't do anything," and then she gets you to do everything that you need to do around the house at her place.
That's correct. No, not everything. Just what I can stand. You ever had someone go like, ask you for help with something, and you go, "Yeah, I'm happy to help with that," and then they start adding stuff to it
Just
and adding
dribbles,
stuff, and then you just kind of like don't want to help them with the initial thing anymore because you're already mentally you're mentally drained. That's what happens when you visit my mother.
Yeah, fair enough. So I want to formally introduce
fair
our
enough.
guest. I'm going to bring him in like this. So please welcome former member
professional.
of the Trumpet of Patriots for the Casey electorate, Philip Cortis. Hello, Phil.
Thanks.
Wait,
I just want to say,
I have something. Hold on, I have something for this. I have something.
What? Former candidate member of Casey. Yes, I feel like that's what. Yeah, that's more appropriate. Yeah.
honestly, well, I didn't expect that. Thank you.
Well, look, I'll be honest
All right.
because, like, when I was wondering a lot of things from the first time Troy sent me a screenshot or photo of your picture on the Facebook page for the Trumpets of Patriots. So, like, as soon as Troy sent me, I'm like, what the flipping hell is going on here? So,
Man.
Disappointed.
No.
So Phil, I want to start with the first question. To be a member of the Trumpet of Patriots, do you have to learn to play the trumpet?
Definitely not. But I wish I would have. Yeah, I would have.
I hadn't finished my highlights, but that's
Too bad,
okay.
Troy. Too slow.
What do you mean too slow? I mean,
You
we
love
got
your
plenty
mum
of
more.
time. We've got plenty of time.
Yeah, no. So, because so the whole, because when Troy sent me the photo, I'm like, okay, I need to know a lot of things here because I kind of wanted to learn a bit how the game of politics works because obviously the federal election has come and gone now, but during the time before the election, what was the goal for you personally, and what was what were the steps that you were required to take into like becoming a member, volunteering, or whatever it was to start candidating and or campaigning? What was this process for all that?
Actually, yeah. How long were you a member for, Phil? Because you came to me, you told me that they asked you to run. I was like, wait, I thought you were part of the Young Libs or whatever it's called.
Yeah, no, look, I'll explain, but first and foremost, thank you for inviting me on and asking me these questions. And
Don't do that, Phil.
I'm letting you know. I'm gonna tell you.
Phil, I just want to thank
Troy,
you so
shut up.
much for being
Troy,
here.
I want to be professional here. Let me
I
talk.
don't want. This is not professional. Phil,
me, I want to be
professional.
Because I want to be honest with you, I'm gonna whistle blow like so much right now.
No, please look honestly, because the whole aurora around the party was like, oh, it's funded by the Australians' version of Donald Trump, and so like, there's so many unknowns, like so many secrets that maybe he was trying to do. Where
Absolutely.
the things he would have thought about that he wasn't like his views or whatever his ideas or goals weren't commonly shared amongst his party. Maybe I don't know if that's.
I just have one very important question. Phil, are you allowed to talk about everything and anything at this point?
Oh, absolutely, and I'm going to.
All right,
lad.
sweet. Good to know.
Now, so first and foremost, how I started, yes, I was a young Liberal. I got involved with the Liberal Party, but it was because of Tony Abbott leaving the party. I just lost interest because I understood how economics work and the party, and there was just a stupid agenda within the party, and media are a big part to play. But so, look, why Trumpet of Patriots is that one. I've always been big on growing our economy, and it seemed that the party had their head screwed on in terms of, restoring our economy by putting, fees on our iron ore, and it's not like a tariff as such. It's just more like
But we do that. It's called selling.
Exporting.
Yes,
It's called exporting. Selling,
Yes.
same difference.
We're giving our iron ore away for like almost 40 cents a ton. It's insane.
It's
And so-
undervalued, definitely.
Oh, absolutely. And so China and many other countries are taking advantage of Australia, where we should be a thriving nation. And so,
Why do we sell it so cheap?
Oh, because we're
Because we
being.
got so much of it. That's the thing.
Going back to your first question, Jackson,
Yeah, go on,
how I got involved. Yes, I was a part of the Liberal Party, but the Liberal Party pretty much died. They have become very similar to the Labor Party and have been bought out by a lot of other companies. And we
Chinese.
you don't
No.
my question. And so, when I heard that they were having candidates running, I knew another person that was running, and we spoke about it. And I thought, I'll put my hand in. And politics has always been a hobby of mine. And so, yeah, I stood up, got offered. I actually wanted to put my hand up for the area of Bendigo, but they said no,
Okay.
which was a shame. But they said no. Well, how about Casey? I said, well, I did grow up in Casey, and I did live there for a while, but I really wanted to
Yeah, continue.
go to Carwell. Carwell, my living area was taken, but I said, you know what, Casey's quite big, and it is home for me. It's where I went to church and grew up, and it made sense. So, yeah, that's where I went. So, yeah.
Fair enough. Because I wasn't sure if there was a rule specifically like to be a member, or if you had to be a candidate for a certain area, you'd have to live in that area. Is that not an actual rule, or is that just something I thought?
That's not a rule. It's not a rule.
And it's not a rule. Look, that's where I grew up, and that's where my
Yeah, that
roots
makes sense.
were.
It's a recommendation, obviously. It looks better.
It
Can't
wouldn't even be
represent people if you don't live there.
it wouldn't be. It's not really a recommendation. Look, at the end of the day, if I fund a company, and if I had someone that just finished year 12 and said, hey, I'm good at this job, or let's say I go to Jackson that studied at, let's say, Melbourne University, he's never lived where I am, and he's actually owns the company with what I'm doing, who am I going to pick? Someone in the area, or someone that's actually got the experience? So, that's pretty much it.
Okay, fair enough. Because the one thing I was very intrigued to see was because obviously because we got it's obviously a Palmer-backed party, but the fact that because he's had a previous time and at the United Australia Party, and obviously he had mixed results there. And I was surprised to see because I think you voted better than 2 independents or something. What was this?
Probably, it would make perfect sense. Why would they? Of course, they'd get more votes.
That's right.
They've got
You beat
they
Family
get that.
First in the
They
Animal
did that
Justice
many
Party.
bloody text messages that people started complaining about it.
Oh yeah, can you send? Yeah, because I got to admit,
Do you know what my actual? Even though I actually voted for Trumpet of Patriots and then One Nation, but do you know what my problem with the whole Trumpet of Patriots party was? And Phil, you'll probably agree with me here. It was the fact that it was all buzzwords. Like they kept putting in buzzwords for everything.
Yeah, look, we had strong policies, and I do believe that if we used a lot of the policies, it would have worked. But I think that they went a little bit too extreme in terms of like immigration. I think that we needed to be a little bit more careful in terms of how we approach immigration, because majority of Australia now is immigration, and I do believe in
I agree.
immigration.
What is it? 1/3 of the population was born overseas. That's ridiculous.
Yes, and I think. But at the same time, it needed to be a topic that we needed to handle a little bit more sensitive. And I think, the fact that they handled more the American approach, it just didn't suit Australia. So when I went out campaigning, I handled it completely differently. And I still kept the party values, but I conducted myself in a way where I was a little bit more sympathetic towards it.
yeah.
Let me ask you a question about, because I actually, unlike a bunch of other people, and I know a bunch of other people didn't actually do it, otherwise there'd be more votes for people like Family First. But I actually looked into the policies of ironically, all of the parties except for Labor. Labor, I didn't bother looking into because I figured they'd probably get in. Or it would be the Liberals. But anyway, I looked into all the different policies, and one of the policies Trumpet of Patriots had was they wanted to give people to use their to be able to use their
Super.
Thank you, Jackson, for mortgages, but also they wanted to keep our having a mental blank here. They wanted to lower the interest rates to 3%.
Yes.
And I found it very confusing because I'm sitting there going, no, they don't have the power to do that even if they did get in. Like Labor and the government doesn't actually control interest rates. Ever since 2008 and the financial crash of 2008, world financial crash, most governments have separated their actual banking system. The system has been separated from government banking systems and economics and all that.
Well, to answer your question, you're right, but at the same time, you can freeze it for a certain period of time. So
who has the power to do that? The government or the RBA?
Both. So the government can work with the RBA to freeze it at a period of time. So the parties was like, hey, if we do charge a 15% iron ore fee to China, then that would be enough to pay off our $1 trillion debt in 9 years. And so with that amount of money coming in, then we would have had that little bit left, to hold us up within our financial system.
Okay, but if we charge it's not a tariff, as I think you said it wasn't a tariff, but if we charge a little bit extra, right, that means that the processed iron that gets sent back here has to be sent back at a higher price as well. They'll just send that back at a slightly higher price, and maybe even other goods as well. There's also the fact that China might be there might be rich people in China, but a lot of their people are just going day by day, essentially. It's worse than our country or America or other countries.
Well, I don't really want to get into in terms of how China's conducting their country, because one, I was focusing on us because think about this. So how many Australians are going homeless per month? It was almost up to 9,000 going homeless per month. So my approach was, okay, I understand what's going on overseas, but we are becoming so bad to the point where we need to put ourselves first. And that's why we needed to charge that licensing fee on our iron ore. And we're not copying off America as in such. We've done it in the 1960s. And if we do that, that will pay off our $1 trillion debt in under 9 years. So And it's something so simple, but the issue is that there's a lot of politicians that are in the back pocket of China. And there's been so many politicians like Sam Diari got caught out being in the back pocket of China. So is a lot of other politicians. And like you can even search Monique Ryan. I won't call her Donkey because that would just piss her off. And I'll probably have my signs taken down. Don't worry, I'll get started to that. So to answer your question, there were definitely ways that we could have conducted ourselves to would have helped our economy.
Yeah, definitely.
True. Okay,
Because
I got a quick question from Courtney. How long can you leave the election campaign signs up? Courtney saw some today, apparently. Some Trumpets of Patriots ones.
I believe that you have 2 weeks. I think the council gave me a fortnight, I believe.
2 weeks, Courtney, or a fortnight?
Yeah. Because
2 weeks.
there's one gripe I have with the current the Labor who's gone. Like my one gripe is they're spending $600 million for a Papua New Guinea rugby team to join the National Rugby League. Like that is the most.
That's your only.
ever.
That what? No, they've done so much worse stuff.
Like
than
that's
that.
just one example of something that I don't agree with.
That's not even that bad. That's a good thing. Papua New Guinea, rugby
but
team.
for the National Rugby League, which is a heavy east, mainly.
You
like
do know where
northern
Papua New
East
Guinea
Coast.
is, don't you?
Yes. I'm aware
Is
of
it is
Papua
it
New Guinea.
Papa? Who's invaded? Is it Papua New Guinea getting invaded by Papa, or is it the other way around?
What?
Didn't you know? Which one is it?
Sorry.
You're right. What's wrong?
Nothing. Don't worry.
Don't worry, Troy.
One of them the natives have been fighting.
I don't think it's Papua New Guinea.
Is it not Papua New Guinea? Where am I thinking of? I'm thinking of what's the place above Queensland?
Jackson, can you do me a favor? Can you ask me the next question?
Yeah, no, that's no. I will because Troy had some good questions until that last bit.
What do you mean? I know I'm thinking of I know I've said the wrong place probably, but
That's okay. No, so Phil, I want to learn a bit more about the process of when it came to campaigning and whatnot. So, the steps you took to get your voice out there. Were you roaming the streets, doing meets and greets? What was that like?
Look, I'm going to be absolutely honest with you, and I'm not going to hold back. My experience...
Yeah, it's Papua and Papua New Guinea, you spastics.
Oh, who cares?
They're literally there's a border between them because of the fighting that's been going on.
Yeah, I don't care.
Okay, so answering the question...
Oh my goodness.
My campaign was trash. I got told, we
trash
could not
or
do
trashed?
Oh, it was trash. I did not enjoy it at all because I could have done so much more. I just felt that, the party said, if you need to do media appearances, you have to go through us. And I felt that I couldn't vocalize myself too much because I was like, wow, I couldn't go to certain things or couldn't do a lot. I just felt that I could have gone to a lot more debates or, these conventions, the talk. And so the party said, whenever you need to do something, you need to have it run by Sue Ellen or your party leaders. And I was like, wait a minute, I couldn't even do a lot. And I felt that I've conducted myself very well, but it just seemed that they were just banking on just the name and the money being spent on the campaign. So initially when I signed up, I was like, great, I'm excited. I can, go to forums, talk, and it seemed that we were held back a little bit. Some people were, some people weren't. So that was the one thing that disappointed me. So I had to focus on just being on the ground and meeting people. But that's the issue, is that people on the street, if you're going to walk up and say hello, they're like, hey, this is a candidate, we don't care about you. So I had to rely on me just driving, saying hello, talking to local businesses. It was difficult. So the organization behind the scenes was just appalling, to be honest with you.
Okay, so was it badly run? Like, how do I explain this? Was it mismanaged, or was there not enough resources? Yeah.
Well, look, I just want to first and foremost, I would say I appreciated all the people behind the scenes that worked tirelessly for the Trumpet of Patriots, like, getting things organised. They worked their ass off. And I just want to say the people that I dealt with, I applaud them. So I want to get that out there. But the decision making...
But it's their fault. I'm kidding. I'm joking.
Like, for example, we had admin workers that were like, that had styes on their eyes, getting like, they were working so hard, and I applaud.
Oh, wow.
But I just want to say that big key people, I just disagreed with their decisions. The Australians don't want to be bothered. Australians are laid back. We are a caring nation.
We're lazy. Yes, I agree.
No, laid back.
No, 100%. People are lazy.
Bro, I think there's another thing too, right?
People are lazy when it comes to politics. They're very lazy.
No, not really. I think, you know what it is? Now, I don't know if you agree with me, Phil, on this opinion, but I think the reason with politics was because up till ScoMo, during his reign, it got really bad towards it, especially the way he dealt with the pandemic, that we were getting so sick of ScoMo and the way he was running, like he was taking over roles that just secretly without really telling anyone. And then when we got to the election, when we eventually voted in Labor, I think there was a big, massive sigh of relief because we've got something different. And then I think the reason again maybe why Labor won again recently was because I think Australians, not because we're lazy, but because we want some stability. We want a bit of continuation. We want to see a bit more work. I don't think if Liberals got in, I don't think it would have been great because people would have gone, oh great, back to this again. And like,
this is kind of what like people like me are getting sick of. It's either Liberals or it's Labor, and this is what Phil was kind of hoping to stir up. I wanted everybody. I was kind of hoping everyone would be a bit more like me, and wanted a minority government. That way, whoever got in, whether it be Liberal or Labor, preferably Labor. I didn't want the Liberals to get in.
Yeah.
But I also didn't want Labor to get a majority, is because you have too much control. And people argue that things don't get passed as quickly. And it's like, well, maybe things shouldn't get passed as quickly. Government's meant to manage. It's not meant to like control, essentially.
I couldn't agree anymore. But yeah, what were you saying again, Jackson?
I was going to.
Everyone wanted stability.
I was talking about why Labor probably won was because people weren't lazy. They wanted stability, and they wanted because like the whole.
I don't know about that. I'm look. It's kind of funny hearing about this whole the cost of living and all that, and all these quote unquote crises everyone's talking about. I'm very confused. So help me out here. Who was in charge during the pandemic? It was
Liberal.
The Liberals were in charge, were they?
Yeah, and then Nationals
and then Labor got in after the pandemic.
Yes.
Okay. So the question is, have they actually been fixing things, and is that why is it because of COVID that things have gotten worse?
I think they
for other
are
people,
trying to fix things. They're not doing a full-hearted job. There is some efforts, but not the full the full extent of what everyone's hoping, because obviously there's so much to do. I think there's so much to recover, but because nothing takes like overnight to fix, it's going to take a lot of work.
So, Jackson, was that you answering or asking me the question?
Yes.
That's a great question. That's a great question. I don't really know.
To be honest with you, be absolutely honest with you,
this is not an interview, Phil. This is a discussion. You can chime in.
I understand that, but I am calling bullshit on both parties because we're being both
rooted.
We are being rooted. Like, we are being bloody screwed. We should be the richest nation in the world. We should be a thriving nation. We have the most resources, iron ore, gold, and everything else, and we're basically practically giving it away for free. Like, look at Dubai. Are they handing out their stuff for free?
Their oil and petrol,
Absolutely not. And the thing is, we are being taken advantage of. Why aren't we the richest nation in the world? And it's disgusting. Now, the thing is, you have people like Anthony Albanese, right? He doesn't even care about his own supporters. Like, look at him. He walks up and he has these people. Yep, great. The guy's not a man of the people. And the thing is, it's just a shame because look at the other party. You had a leader that goes in, he would have done nothing anyway. The issue is his own party turned on him. His own party were banking on him to lose.
Are we talking about Dutton here, or are we talking about Albanese?
Peter Dutton, goodness sake.
Yeah.
So the issue is, it's a hard game to get into, but
Yeah.
We've done a complete reverse of America. Like America had Donald Trump and they voted for him and all that, and then we had Dutton try and act like Donald Trump, and then as soon as they heard about what Donald Trump's been doing in America, like all the exporting of people. Or removal of what's the reverse of immigration? What's the term? I know it's export.
Deportation?
Deportation. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
The because of all the deportation and how we're looking.
Sorry, I'm getting a stitch.
What? I forgot the word deportation.
Yeah, that's fair. That's okay. It's not like he's doing it all the time now. Jeez.
What do you mean? Forgetting words. I'm tired. I work hard. All right. I don't, Jackson. I don't just walk around and put rods into things and then go home and pat myself on the back. And Phil, I don't go out. I don't get to go to the shops and hang out with people.
Phil, what Troy's trying to say is he's got one kid and he thinks life is so hard and miserable.
What I'd like to say is, look, I'm in a life crisis. All right.
What hands are one thing. If your name is Troy,
I'm driving.
Man, I just want to say,
guys,
I'm sorry for you. I'm sorry.
Which one of us here, guys, is
Troy,
driving?
how much did Phil pay you to vote?
Which one of us drives a dirty van? Wait, what was that? Which one of us drives a dirty van to work every day that's about to break down? And which one of us has a Tesla? Yeah. And which one of us has a new car that you can put a baby seat in? I'm just saying.
I just want to say thank you, Elon, for giving me the.
Look, you can't see him right now, but he's put his hand up in like a vertical motion with his fingers outwards, kind of like.
Elon, I thank you for the car, and I thank you that I could put Trumpet of Patriots signs over it to fix up the unis.
Brilliant.
Yeah. Did you drive around a couple of university campuses with your Trumpet of Patriots on your Tesla? Phil?
Oh no!
I would have gotten some votes.
On the day of the election, I put up like
I saw the photos.
Yeah, I put up so many. I had so many cars drive past and take photos. I'm like, yeah, I think I'm doing okay.
You should have. If you just come to I could have put some on my. No, actually, I couldn't put it on my van because it's a company van. But we could have put it on Courtney's car. Phil.
Yes.
There's something about. Oh yeah, that's right. I'm very disappointed because I didn't get my "Make Australia Great Again" hat.
I actually have a few at home, and I will do that. So I do have some available for you.
Yeah.
Excellent. Do you still have the chairs? Because you got like 20 or 50 chairs. Like,
mate, can I just say, so I had volunteers. So can I just backtrack a little bit? Is that
please do.
So when we signed up, we had no campaign manager. And I just want to say we got given this handbook saying you'll have this, and we didn't even get it. We had to run our own campaign. We had to call up all these volunteers. And 90% of the people on the members list were from United Australia Party. So
the former party. Oh, that's unfortunate.
And when I called all of them, they were like, no, not interested. I legit only had a handful of people that said yes, but at the end, I only had like 4 people that were willing to help out. So on the day of the election, it was hell for me. But then Clive Palmer was like, hey, I'm going to pay for all these chairs, eskies, and give you money back, which, to be honest with you, he said, hey, we'll give you $750 to be paid back for your campaign. I haven't received that money back yet.
Oh, that sucks.
And so you could say he hasn't paid you, like he doesn't please.
Yeah. Well, first and foremost, because I believe we will. It's just it's been a little bit after the election, and we're just waiting.
Yeah, give it time.
But how was lunch at his place?
I'm gonna get to that.
Continue.
Look, I can't personally say anything bad about Clive Palmer. It's just I disagree with how he ran his campaign. Yeah. And people I met, they were wonderful people. But so anyway, getting back to, I got all these chairs and I got given a volunteers list. I had to run everything all by myself. And you look at the other parties, they had it a little bit better than us. It was literally us that had to run it. Like I had another guy that I met where I live, and I got along with him very well. And I encouraged, hey, let's all do podcasts. Let's do something, and that's we needed to engage with each other to get our names out there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's a good point, because I was often wondering, like there were multiple times, like, okay, so obviously Trumpets of Patriots, they're trying to bring in like invite people to like want something different for a change. Like, what was the whole campaign sort of target audience? Because there's always constant debate about like how the major parties, they're always
conservative-leaning
trying to bring
people.
in the young people, try to make them feel like it's important and stuff like. What was the target audience type?
I'll tell you what, Jackson, because there's more young people, there's more millennials and Gen Zers voting than baby boomers and Xers now. Apparently, young people are spoken. There is no crisis going on. No one's suffering. We're all good.
I'll be absolutely honest. I think that they just took too much of the conservative route. Like when I first entered, I started to see
Trumpy.
No, they were like
Trump light.
we are conservative, but then all of a sudden with a lot more bigger of the ads, one thing that really frustrated me is that they started attacking One Nation, and I was like, no, don't.
When did they attack One Nation?
So Sue Ellen did a commercial saying One Nation is no nation because her what do you call it, Palmer.
That's good, actually.
So Clive Palmer tried to basically buy out
Pauline Hanson.
And Pauline Hanson said, "Yeah,
excuse me," she said,
for this certain amount of money." But Pauline Hanson was quite smart and said, "Look, no." And then her and Clive Palmer had a falling out, and now I would like.
That's why I voted for her. The old girl has her principles.
Yes, she was a Habib inside the Parliament House. Yes,
and so
that was ages ago. Also, wasn't that to prove a point?
Yeah,
I don't know.
Why? Okay, Jackson. Why did she wear the hijab? What did you say, Habib?
It wasn't a Habib. It was a.
Did you say she wore the Habib?
It wasn't a Habib. It was.
I just said what it was. It was Hajib.
She only wore that.
Habib. Oh my goodness, Habibi.
I'll actually explain
that
why.
Means love.
Sorry,
that means my love.
I'll actually explain why she actually wore that is because we kept having terrorist threats.
Yeah, it was about covering up, not covering up. It was about like you can walk into Parliament and like no one can see your face.
Yeah,
it wasn't just that. It was that there were people wearing those outfits and actually causing tension. And then we need to have laws in Australia. Like if you go in a bank, you need to see the face. But I believe that Pauline Hanson should have conducted herself in a better manner.
Yeah, but when you compare it to what was that girl who was left leaning or something who like what did she do, the haka or something? No, not the haka. It was something.
You mean just that Price?
Is that the Muslim girl actually? Yeah, she was Muslim or something. She was a Muslim politician. Maybe I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of someone else, but they did something not controversial, but a bit out there or something.
Yeah. So sorry, Jackson. What was your question?
So yeah, basically like your target audience. Who were you hoping to get like your votes? Like what kind of people was it? Like it was all just a broad stick where it's like we'll just hope anyone does.
I mean, it was obviously conservative leaning people.
Yeah, but the thing is, it was a bit annoying because we should have went for all Australians when we should have had the approach saying, "Hey, this is what's going on. This is how we can fix it," and then. All of a sudden, when Sue Ellen went out with "One Nation is no nation," I'm like, oh no, and their preferences went out somewhere. But
that's just antagonizing people.
Yeah, it was annoying. But I just wanted to say also a shout out to One Nation in my area. I had the candidate give me their preference, so I just want to say thank you for them, and and I appreciate what they did. Anyway,
what do you think of the Greens candidate in your area?
Look, I'm going to be honest with you. So what happened?
So Troy gave me a slight insight to this story, but
I didn't say anything until after the election.
Yeah, but Troy kept his mouth shut, very shut.
Now I need to let you know. So what happened? I had I still can't say a lot of things because it's being investigated, whatever. But so what happened on my page? I have to delete certain content, but you know what? I didn't care. I let it keep going. I uploaded a thing about, hey, I walked up to people in the town of Lilydale, and I said, "Hey, what issue are you having?" And they said, "Oh, we don't like the railway station. We don't like this. It takes us sometimes with the traffic 30 minutes just to get
Oh,
home
yeah.
from Lilydale to Lilydale." I said, "Well, this needs to be addressed, and I want to address it. And it's not like I was making a promise. I was saying we need to address these issues, and no other politician's doing it." Now, online, I was getting attacked by all these greenies, and so I was like, okay. So I just left it, and then I started researching. One of them was like the Greens candidate. They were following the Greens candidate online, and I found him. I'm like, okay. And then I actually started. I'm not saying it was a green, so I need to be
Yeah,
careful.
that's fine.
when I
Yeah.
say it.
Keep that clear.
I started having issues where I was getting followed home, and I wouldn't say it was the Greens, but as I was campaigning in Lilydale, as I was walking, someone ran up and said Zachary Cordes, Natalie Cordes, my children's names, and their locations in school and childcare. I was like, what the hell? And so
Yeah.
it was
That sucks.
annoying. And then I was like, at the end of the day, this scrawny little runt, and I will say it again, this scrawny little runt, that probably drinks soy for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I don't do anything.
Smash
There's nothing
Davo.
wrong with soy. I love soy. I'm a bit of a soy boy.
Yeah, and so anyway, I just told the party, and the party handled it very well, and I have to
Yeah.
admit,
Because
did.
when Troy told me the story, I'm like, well, damn. I was kind of like surprised, but at the same time not surprised because like
I was gonna
there
say-
seems to be like a sort of like a dark arts to the world of politics because
Oh, there is, and I just want to say I really appreciate when I met the Greens candidate. She was a lovely individual, and I have nothing bad to say
Yeah,
about her.
that's fair.
The only thing I can say is I don't agree with the Greens policies, and plus I took the shit out of
Yeah.
the Greens online. I had so much fun. Like
Oh
my
yeah.
my memes were perfect.
Yeah.
Oh, no. Phil, I was going to share one of your memes. I thought Courtney saw it, the Homer Simpson one where it's got him dragging the rock. And it's got the Greens
That was
written on it.
perfect.
I was going to share on her. I was going to get Courtney to share that with her Greens, like because we got a Greens candidate ad. And I was like, "Oh, Courtney, you should post that meme that Phil posted on their actual page." But
Years ago, interesting story. I actually made that meme for Clive Palmer, years and years ago,
Well,
and
then.
then and so I used to make memes for
he's a bit of a memey boy.
when it was the Palmy Army, and I think I sent that to his bundle.
Palmy
I thought it was called the Palmy Army, and then like I use memes like Adam West Batman running with a bomb with like Bill Shorten's head on it, and I had so much fun. But this time I just did not care. It came out the first couple of weeks at the election, I felt so stressed, and then when it came to almost at the end, I was like, you know what, I don't care. I'm gonna post memes, and then when all the candidates were together like in Lilydale, they knew the memes that I was posting. They just get it. And I was like, I love being a troll. I absolutely love it.
Speaking of trolliness, you told me that you had a debate with. You were in a debate at some point. Is that correct? With other candidates, you were in a couple of debates.
No. So I want to let you know it was more like a discussion.
A discussion. Okay, discussion or debate, but you were in a discussion with people. Was that put online? Because you didn't share it on your page online. I didn't see it online.
No, so getting back to that, we had discussions in person while we're at the polling booths, because the TOP was like, oh, if don't go to those kind of things, just worst case scenario of media, which was more annoying. Some people were
don't go to those things. How are you supposed to get people to know what you? Never mind. Continue.
I know, and I know what you're thinking, and I agree. But yeah, look, it was more a discussion in person than anything. So like when we're at the polling booth, when no one was coming up, then we had like little discussions. Like I had a volunteer of mine that was just helping out, handing out how to vote cards, and one Greens member, a volunteer, were like, oh hey, how do you feel about this? And then they were like, oh, I don't know, ask Phil. And I just turned around and said, I think they were talking about immigration. And I said,
Okay.
we are not against immigration. It's just we need to focus on getting our country back on track because we've taken in quite a lot to the point where our own people cannot afford to live.
Mm.
That's just common sense. So I'm not against immigration. It's just we need to get our country back under control.
Yeah. Yeah, because house prices are ridiculous, especially in like the big cities. Like it's just ridiculous. Like, because the Aussie dream of buying a home, owning a home, is pretty much dead. It's been dead for quite a while now. But
I mean, Phil, do you own your home?
I do.
Jackson, do you own your home?
nearly.
Okay, well, I own my
First,
home.
Can I just
Like I
first
own
and
it.
foremost?
Like
first-
the bank doesn't own it. I own
No,
it.
Troy, first and foremost, I know I made you a promise, Troy. If I ever win the lotto, I will buy your I'll pay off your mortgage. But I would like to say, if I win,
Oh no!
I will buy you a house. I will buy you a house, Jackson.
Oh,
Okay.
thank you.
He's
I
got a
don't have
house.
to, but thank you. I appreciate
You
it.
didn't-
I'm not. No, I'm
wanna
saying
I
will
wanna
buy
clarify.
your-
I want to clarify here, Phil. You said you'd split the money with me. You didn't say you'd pay off my mortgage. All right,
Oh,
That's a bit
come
different.
on.
because
Come on.
Things.
you can't pay off that you can't pay off that
You
which
know
doesn't
what?
exist.
You know what? I think I would make a good politician. I keep going back on my word.
Yeah, because I want to ask you a bit about this though, right? So for context, we should probably say that Troy and Phil went to school with each other, grew up, be friends, whatever. So this is why the banter's
We
so
never went to
lighthearted
school
and
with each
whatnot.
other. We just ran in the same circles.
Or
Well,
We
squares.
went to Jackson. We went to church together.
Oh, cute.
That's
Church
right.
buddies.
Yeah, we were choir boys. We kissed in the hallway and everything.
Come on. And then next minute, we were like, what's his name? That Catholic priest that got arrested.
What?
Oh, I don't know.
Oh,
The
actually, that was
Australian
awesome.
guy who ran away overseas, or yep.
Oh, George something.
I don't
George
know.
Pell.
Yeah, George Powell.
George Powell, that's it.
No, we were not. I would like to say we were not George
You've heard,
Powell.
you've heard of Alf on the Shelf. Get ready for Pedo in the Meadow.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
It's a meme. It's a meme. It's George Powell in a meadow.
Of course, it doesn't need to explain.
What?
Phil, I want to get back a bit in some serious terms here. So obviously, your election campaign, you've said it was a bit rubbish, and you weren't really supplied with enough stuff to really be successful enough. But
It sounds like they were just didn't have enough volunteers.
yeah, no. So the question I was kind of asking for was like, so your expectations going into the election. I'm assuming you would have liked, oh yeah, this is a really good chance to push a different voice, to push in a different party to split the majors a bit. But now that we're post election now, what was your outlook before, and what is your outlook now, and what would you have been done differently, you reckon?
My outlook now is that we need to have all the minor parties that are conservative to unite, and
Form a coalition.
no, like we need to unite more than ever, and and I do believe after having a different outlook, we need to unite with Pauline Hanson. We need to shut down a lot of these minority parties and just unite as one, because Australia is in trouble and we won't recover with what's going on, because we have, think about this, if how much would Albanese take just to sell off Australia? Like ScoMo sold his soul and pretty much didn't care. So
Oh, you
the
think
issue
he's
is-
bad? You think about what Daniel Andrews was like.
Oh, mate, don't get me started about Dan
Just
Andrews.
here in Victoria. Oh my goodness.
This
He
is fed or
blocked
not
me on
state.
Facebook. He blocked me on Facebook.
It doesn't matter. It's all of the above. They
Well, don't
work
worry.
together.
He blocked me on Facebook, so it doesn't matter. But look, my outlook is, from the election, we need to shut down a lot of the minority parties, and we need to unite together.
Yeah, because we've got the Australian Greens, One Nation, Australia's Voice, Centre Alliance, David Pocock Party, Jackie Lambie Network.
Stop reading off a list online, Jackson. You haven't even mentioned
this
Family First.
This is what we need to know: People's First Party and United Australian Party. But then
People's
there's like
First
the Justice Party, like all these like legalize cannabis as a fraud party, the Animal Justice
They've
Party.
always
like,
been a party. They're
if
great.
there's
I
ever
love
been
them.
a time to unite the minorities, it's definitely now, and I 100% agree.
Oh,
Because if we want change,
absolutely.
we need to not be so split up in division.
Well, maybe if you
knock
didn't
out the
vote
bigger
for the
ones.
Greens or Labor, Jackson.
Well, I did get.
Oh, Phil, do you know this? Jackson voted for Labor because NDIS. He didn't want the Liberals to get rid of NDIS.
Troy, it's necessary that I actually need NDIS.
I
And don't
don't
you?
want-
Didn't
You don't
your,
need it. Someone else
Phil,
needs
wasn't
it.
your last work bit of? Isn't your work NDIS related?
He loves it. He's best friends with the NDIS. He loves them.
Yeah.
So I actually run a NDIS support agency. That's
I thank you for your service.
no,
Wait,
thank
wait,
you.
wait. An NDIS supports agency. Is that what you call it?
Yeah, basically.
I thought it was working. Isn't it just working with people with disabilities company? Working
No,
with
it's a
people
bit
with
more than
disabilities?
just that.
It's a bit more than that, but yeah. Look, yeah. But getting back on track,
Because it's
sorry,
not part of
what-
because it's not part of the NDIS. It's a separate company.
So
Completely.
Jackson, what was your question again? Just getting back on
So
track.
outlook before the election versus the outlook after the election, and like, what do you think needs to happen? Was basically the question.
And-
You
and
answered
then
some of it, but I think there's
You
still
ranted on about Albanese.
Look,
It's very sleazy.
we need to unite
Yeah, no,
all
definitely, I
the
agree.
parties, and I believe that Pauline Hanson is the person, because after what I went through in the party, it just revealed that Clive Palmer was only there for his own interests.
Yeah.
That's all I can really have to say. Maybe
I don't think
after-
I don't think Pauline Hanson's any good either. Unfortunately, like there's nothing wrong with her. I like her, but the problem is she's got, as Jackson said, she went into Parliament with a Habibi
Well, I
on.
think she's got not a
But without
violent sense, but she's like you think of
Look,
her
she-
party,
look,
you
she's-
think of her. You don't think of
unfortunately-
anything else, though.
Unfortunately, people who are more left leaning just think she's a
Well,
racist.
well,
Even
put
your
it out
wife,
the-
Jackson, when I spoke to her on the phone, I said I voted for One Nation. She go, "Why'd you do that? She's a racist."
No, she's definitely not a racist.
I know
assure
she's not a racist. She has
but-
said some racial dividing things, and then she went and actually got herself quote unquote educated and was like, "Okay, I've made some mistakes. I was wrong here."
Oh well, look, that's the.
And it was about Aboriginal. She said a couple of things that was wrong about, not quite right. And then she went and actually met people. I think it may have been in the Northern Territory. I don't know. And she went back and explained, no, those comments I made were wrong. I didn't mean it like that.
Well, you know what? At the end of the day, she corrected herself, and you don't see the Prime Minister of Australia doing that. But,
The problem is most people don't see those corrections or hear about those corrections. They only hear about the negatives. The reason why Justin Trudeau was the Prime Minister of Canada, is because
Canada.
he's just so damn good looking, and he has the voice of understanding
people don't realize
people
Justin
hear
Trudeau had a learning
how
disability.
he speaks,
Wait, really?
and it's very clear.
Justin Trudeau had a learning disability, and he openly admitted it on a video. So
Is that why he talks? Is that why he talks like that? Whenever he did a speech for Canada, whenever I saw it, heard him talk, he'd always like breathe, like he'd go, "Canada needs to understand that we're doing this to stop America's takeover." Like he'd talk like that, kind of, with heavy breathing, and he'd stop, pause to breathe, and then talk.
Yeah, I think we've just lost Phil, but
Oh, bye,
Yeah.
Phil. I'm surprised he's driving home, and whenever I call him, he hasn't got any reception.
no, that's okay. Because I was going to ask him as well, like, he to finish off that question was to ask him what he would done better, like after the election, what he would have done better if he had his time back, obviously, because I was going to ask him as well, because along with those threats he received, what was like, because you'd have to be built differently to withstand that kind of crap, and the way he kind of freed himself from that was just by posting memes of being a troll himself, which I think is quite funny.
It sounds like he didn't have much freedom in what he could do, so I don't think it really mattered too much.
No, I agreed. Yeah.
And it sounded like they just needed a person to represent that area.
Sorry.
Are you back? You're back.
Yeah,
He's back.
Sorry about that. I
That's
do
okay.
apologize.
We just made a handshake deal.
Sort of. Yes.
That's a reference to another podcast.
Lol. Yeah. So Jackson, what other questions do you have?
So yeah, I was going to ask. I just basically said to Troy what it was. So what would you done better, knowing how
What
your
would you do
campaigning and
better?
election went, and what would you done better? And
What would you do better, Jackson?
Honestly,
Yeah, it's not good, is it?
Shut up,
go
Troy.
to a party that has faith in you and let you do stuff I'm sorry, but it just seems so many things were unorganized, and I feel sorry for the people that worked for the party. And I understand Clive Palmer. He had, at first seemed that he had good intentions, but man, like I know that he was like, oh yeah, but we only have 4 weeks. It's like, I don't care. You had the resources to go in and help. And, when I went in, all I had was a list and things to be delivered from my home. I had to work my ass off
To be fair, though, to be fair with that, is that they kind of quickly threw it out there. They were saying they weren't going to do a snap election. They totally did a snap election.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, it was just thrown out there. No one was prepared.
It was probably a long-term play just to
It was probably. I know. Sorry, Labor and Liberals were prepared because they put in that little bill and passed it right
and
beforehand.
I understand the United Australia Party. They got dodged, but Clive Palmer went in and was like, oh, hey, I need to update the membership, and he didn't realize that you had to update it after a certain period of time, and he tried to fight it in the courts. They're like, no, you have to wait next time round. And then he went to Pauline Hanson saying, do you want to unite together? And then she said, yeah, but for this certain amount of money, because at the end of the day, this is Pauline Hanson's party. She worked her ass off to be where it is today.
That's true.
No one, and I have to say this because I know when I went to see Clive Palmer for breakfast, and it was just me and a few members of the party on the next day at the party launch, they were like, oh, Pauline wanted this certain amount of money. Well, look, at the end of the day, her party is like her baby. You can't just give it away, and and I understand that, but it just was
give it away now.
My head went the same spot too, Troy.
Okay, just making sure. Sure. Sorry, Phil, continue.
But
that's what he said there. Clive Palmer went up to him and said, "Give it away now."
Exactly.
They offered her money, and she said no, and I understand. And so Clive had another individual named Nick from the party. I met him at the party launch, and he offered Clive to be the president, no money, because he believed in the vision of using the name to get it where it needs to go. And
do you know why they came up with the name Trumpet of Patriots?
Good question. So Nick Darren, who I met at the party launch, came up with the Trumpet of Patriots is not because of Donald Trump. It was made. The name was made years ago through the Australian Electoral Commission, and then when the UAP...
Wait, so it was a pre-existing party name? That's correct.
Yes, and the media really played on the fact that
they really did Trump, play on the whole that it was Trumpet and sounded like Trump.
Yeah, and so
I was sitting there going, "There's no way it is that," but I'm glad that confirms it.
No, I can confirm it had nothing to do with Donald Trump.
You've given me a good question. What was the media? What was the relationship between the party and the media? Because obviously there was.
They avoided the media like the plague.
Yeah, but that was the thing there, because you think if you
media.
Yeah, okay. Because I was going to say, you've got this party, it's got the name, it's like, oh, everyone thinks it's the American, it's trying to be like a bit like America. But wouldn't you would have thought that with that kind of name, it'd be to be a bit different. That you think that the media would be more interested in knowing what you're all about and stuff, or was that not really the case?
Look, the media was so against us. It was very tricky. It was absolutely disgusting. But, yeah,
I think that's a problem too, because we've got like you're talking about how there's so many minority parties. There's another thing too with the media. All the media is owned by massive honchos who back the parties themselves. Like Channel 7 are basically liberal. I can't remember if this is exactly right, but basically someone
You're
higher
absolutely
up
right.
Yeah,
look, it's the same. Right. Look, it's the same thing as American politics. Every media organization has an owner or a person who's associated with a party or
Fox News,
leading in a certain direction.
Yeah. Fox News is very much for the Republicans.
Yeah, same thing as Sky News, or at least the late night Sky News is for people in the right leaning in Australia.
Yeah,
especially the Bolton Report. Oh my goodness. He's
he's
like our version of Carl Tucker.
So
The problem is we haven't got enough. There's not enough population to have enough backing for like that's why we've got all these independents and all these minorities that are trying to carve their own ways because they haven't got enough backing support. Like Clive Palmer is a billionaire or wherever he is.
Can I just quickly mention what's going on? People aren't aware that the Liberal and Labor Party actually cut funding for the
they passed that bill.
Yeah, for the next time round, in the next 4 years, independents and minor parties.
Yeah, right.
It's because they're scared.
Yeah, they've cut funding so bad to the point where it's going to be impossible for someone to run with that amount of funding. So, to be honest, this election was the last fair election, in my opinion. You had the Liberal and Labor Party that worked together to bring that bill in. It was disgusting.
Didn't they bring the bill in right before this election for this election, though? Didn't it apply to this one too?
It didn't apply for this one, but it will apply for the ones after.
Gotcha.
But
I don't even know how you can do. How can you do that? Cut funding, like, and give yourself. And didn't they make it so that major parties could get more funding?
No, I don't believe so. It was more for the minor parties.
I heard that it's mostly cuts minor parties, but actually they could get more funding or something.
I haven't.
Didn't they spend? They spent more money than. Did they spend much money this time? I think they spent quite a bit of money.
Personally, I can't answer that question.
Yeah,
so if I knew, I would. I'll actually get back to you on that.
But let me ask you another question, Phil. Let's go back to the trumpets because we got the text messages and we got the ads. How did you feel about? Because I personally was like, I liked the policies by Trumpet of Patriots, but I hated the fact that like it was all those buzzwords where it's like immigration, we need to stop it. Cost of housing's out of control. Lower the mortgage rate. Do this, do that. They're like
a side plot question to that. Did you also get the text?
Phil, did you get the text?
I did get the text, but I had a little.
Did you get 5? I got 5.
I got 5, but what happened? I thought that we were.
You should have gotten more.
It was so annoying. I contacted someone from the party going, "Hey, I'm getting complaints," and then they were like, "Oh, no, they're not." I'm like, "Are we hacked?" One person said, "Yeah," or the telco company's still doing it deliberately, and I'm like, "Okay."
That's such a good idea. No, guys, we were hacked.
I want to whistleblow it because this is going to be big, on another topic after this. But and then I ended up finding out Clive's like, "No, these are no." People need to be educated. There's a plan. It's like, I'm sorry, Australians don't like to be annoyed. Maybe 1 or 2 text messages, but not like 8, you know?
I personally didn't mind the text messages. They didn't really bother me. It's just that anyone who complains about a text message, it's the most ridiculous thing. What annoyed me is the text messages said the exact same things as all the ads, and I'm like, I know this stuff already.
Can I let you know? When I got, I had my my political email.
Phil's getting texted his own policies. I didn't know that.
I was getting public. Sending me emails saying, "How dare you, send us political text messages? They over the top." My response to them was, "Hello, how are you today? I appreciate your response. And as would you like a free Trumpet of Patriots shirt or hat? And if elected, I will amend."
I promise to stop sending text messages.
No. I said, if elected, I will amend the Spam Act that will stop the exempt of political text messages. I hope you have a lovely day. And then, it was funny because the messages that I was getting back was like, "Shut up."
Oh my goodness.
Look, at the end, even on my social media, on the Facebook, I uploaded a screenshot of the Liberal Party sending me text messages, and I uploaded it saying, "Hi everyone, I
saw that.
I understand what you're saying about the text messages. I hear you, and I'm getting them too. It is ridiculous." And then
That's fair.
People's responses like, "Oh," like it was angry, but they didn't know what to say. So I had a little bit of fun.
I've got one more silly question to ask you. Are you able to vote for yourself?
No, I'm going to be absolutely honest with you. I wasn't in the electorate where.
Oh, true. Good point.
If I was, I so would have.
That's great. Yeah, fair enough.
But yeah, there's a lot of things that I would like to say. When
Please
I
do.
went, Clive paid for me to go to the party launch, and I got nothing against Clive Palmer when I first spoke to him on the phone because it was great. I told him the story about my father, found him funny on the news, how he would like just make fun of the parties. And, and especially my dad found him funny when he would watch him eat on TV because it was apparently funny. When I went to the party launch, and Clive, it just seemed to be like he didn't want anything to do with me. I was like, you know what? Fair enough. He's a multi-billionaire. I'm not that important. The only thing
this guy's a super
Super Troy.
Okay.
Don't be serious, man.
and so when I saw him at the dinner after, at the party launch, I told him about the story of my dad. I'm like, hey, my dad found you interesting, and and he just said, oh, God bless him, make sure you man those boots, and just moved his head and started talking. I'm like, oh, okay. And I was like, you know what, I'm not going to take that seriously because he's a billionaire and I'm not important. The moment I become important, then that's when he'll probably talk to me. Fair enough.
Yeah.
And then the next time round, I got to meet Nick Darren, the guy that came up with Trumpet of Patriots. I was staying at the same hotel. I met Glenn O'Rourke, who was in politics, who signed up to Trumpet of Patriots, who was running for the Senate. They invited me back to his resort the next day with Sue Allen and all the other people there. And Clive Palmer was like telling everyone, oh, we're trying to get a Donald Trump endorsement and, talking up the party, me and Sue Allen will go, etc., etc. And I'm just thinking, oh, wow, like he's making things sound so exciting. And then I'm just like, okay, all right. And he just did not want to give me eye contact or did not want to talk to me. And besides, when I got up after everything else, him talking about, Pauline Hanson not joining forces or whatever, he just kept saying, hope, we might get a Donald Trump endorsement because of, what's his name, Tucker Carlson kind of thing. But look, it didn't happen because obviously, I'm going to be honest with you, Donald Trump is a smart man. My approach to Clive Palmer is the fact that, one, he was nice enough for me to pay to go to go to
go to the Gold Coast or resort.
To the Gold Coast and to his resort, and I appreciate that he did that. But he just didn't take the time to talk to me or actually get to know me, and I wish that I would have had that opportunity. But it just seemed that Clive Palmer just had his thoughts on the wrong direction for the country. And I think, he had great policies, but it just came off way too strong. And I think what really killed the election was the over text messages. I think if he just, focused on his ads, maybe one text message, just like all the other parties did, we would have had a good chance. But man, the impact of those text messages, like I felt it.
Do you reckon they were that negative?
Oh man, the amount of people.
Yeah.
The amount of people that walked up to me and said, I was going to vote for you, but those text messages just killed it. And I said, you know what? Fair enough. But
really, wow.
I said to the public, I understand your frustrations, but please give me a chance. And on my social media, I uploaded a video about our how to vote cards. Now, I want to whistleblow here. What happened, and I will say this, was absolutely bullshit. Sorry for my language, but it was bullshit. We had our how to votes come out. I actually got it right here. The first time round, we preferenced a teal independent. And I'm like, why is my second preference going to a teal? And then, and the sitting member Liberal was last. And I was like, what? And it was just, and I tried to vocalize our how to votes, and our how to votes just took their dang time. I was like, okay, what's going on? And I spoke to another candidate named Jason Smart, and I was like, hey, how are you feeling? He said, I got promised to pick my own preferences, and I can't pick a teal, like it's going to affect my reputation. And he was a bit worried because before we signed up to the party, we signed a thing that called the divorce contract. And if we left,
it's a non-disclosure kind of thing.
No, it's not a non-disclosure.
Oh, it's not that one.
We had to pay pay the party back.
Oh,
And you
yeah,
know,
that's right.
I was going in with the long haul, but Jason had a reputation because he really wants to get into politics, and I applaud Jason for standing up and said, no, I'm not going to run because this has affected my reputation. I cannot put a teal second preference. And then all of a sudden,
Why? So what was the problem with the teal being second preference? What's wrong with, because that's independent, isn't it? That's just an independent.
yeah, but a
minority.
teal independent is basically voting the Greens, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
And
Why is
it's not-
that? How does
Because
that work?
so the teals are just trying to be a different, like they're trying to be their own like version of the Greens.
So is the teals an actual party, or is it just independents? I'm
It's
confused.
independence.
independent.
Well, how are they? You got
It's
conservative
unified
independents. you've got-
independence. It's I don't know how to explain it, but they're their own group. And
So
like,
there is actually like a weird coalition of independents that's the
yeah,
teals.
kind of.
Oh, okay, that's okay.
They're like,
'Cause I didn't-
in my opinion, they're like the Greens in disguise. But
Green's light.
yeah. So sorry, Jackson. What was
The
I
Greens are
saying?
They-
Sorry, what
I
was
got-
I just saying before, Jackson?
Got you. They're communists disguised as socialists.
No, I was saying about what was I saying? I can't remember. You were talking about how you're second preferencing the teals and it didn't sit right with you.
Oh,
And
yeah,
it was going
so
to ruin
going
a guy's
back there-
reputation.
So going back there, Jason said, you know what, I have to back out because my reputation's on the line. I can't do it. And you know, I applauded him. I said, good on you. And then he got out, and then all of a sudden, we had an emergency meeting with Clive Palmer on the Zoom call, and he's saying,
Oh, I have something for this. Hold on.
he said, oh, we were compromised by the printing company. And then I was like,
Never
everyone
mind.
was like, oh, okay. And he said, for now, just when those how to vote cards come out, just hand them out anyway, and you'll get new ones. I was like, okay.
What? That's a terrible idea.
I know. And then anyway, for the first couple of days when early polling started, because Clive Palmer said, just focus on early polling. I was like, okay. And then when I went on early polling,
We don't care.
Okay, continue.
okay, I just had the hold up signs saying "Vote for me" kind of thing. Vote one, Trumpet of Patriots. We didn't even have photos of us, and it was so annoying. I know. So
That's ridiculous.
it was pretty bad. And so after that, after a couple of days, I had this wonderful volunteer of mine named Rod, an older gentleman. We just held the signs, and finally the how to vote cards arrived. And I asked the guy, hey, did you hear that the company that did the artwork or how to vote or the printing sabotaged? And he looked at me and said, really? I didn't know that. And by the way, I'm the owner.
Oh,
What?
Yeah. And I was like, yeah. And I was like, oh, okay. I said,
Wait, who said they sabotaged? Was it Clive?
Clive Palmer.
Okay.
He said, we were sabotaged by the printing company.
And the guy who's the volunteer with you is like, I own the printing company. I didn't know
No,
we
he wasn't
sabotaged
the
you.
volunteer. He was the guy that dropped off the boxes for the how to
Oh, okay. The guy who dropped it off was like, I.
And he said, oh, yeah. He said, apparently I heard a few things, but he said, I assure you I didn't do anything. And then I was like, okay, so what's going on? And then all of a sudden, you know,
He's clearly a liar.
I
Clive
spoke
Palmer
to
would
the
never
other
lie.
candidates.
The
And
other
then
guy's lying.
I said, hey, did you talk to the guy that dropped it off? He's the owner. He said, yeah. I don't know what's going on, but I think, you know, we just got caught out. And in my opinion, like, I can't say anything bad against Clive Palmer because I need to just give my opinion, is that something just didn't sound right. I can't just say Clive Palmer lied. It's just, in my opinion, something just sounded fishy. And so, you know what? I was like, you know, he promised to fix up the preferences. So the preferences was, you know, we gave second preference to family first, third, One Nation. And I just wanted to say One Nation from Amber. I appreciated her. She gave me second preference, and I appreciated the fact that she did that. So I just want to thank Amber for that. But things were just beyond unorganized.
At least family first was also. So did you say your first preference, your second preference was family first, or was it?
Yes, and
well, that's still good. That's just as good as One Nation. They're pretty good, family first. I like their policies.
First dropped out again. It's okay.
Does it tell you, or does it just
Yeah.
stopped?
It just says stops. But it's
Okay. Did you want to do a second one of this, Jackson, or have a longer one?
have a long one? It's fine.
Have a long one.
Yeah.
I'm gonna need to make myself another drink then.
Because I've basically run out of questions and things to talk about, but I'll
Oh, he'll just keep going on.
Oh yeah, I won't be surprised. But yeah, because it's
This is
so
why Phil
fascinating.
should be our third.
Then our episodes will go like 3 hours.
No, because this is just specifically politics. He hasn't got. He can't talk like this much. He can't talk for 3 hours about other subjects.
Yeah, I suppose so. Yeah.
Anyway, I'd like to continue with my other highlight
gonna
of the week was. My other highlight of the week was I started playing Shadow of Mordor.
Oh, I thought you were going to say
And-
the Short Darkness or what it was called.
Yeah, and no, Shadow of Mordor.
Sorry,
And-
sorry about that, guys.
And
all
just after that, right? Because I only played for an hour, so
Okay.
it ended up being.
Hey, guys, sorry about that. I'm back on.
Yeah,
Shadow of
the
Mordor has a nemesis system, and
Troy's just ignoring you
no
'cause
other
he's-
game's allowed to do that anymore. Apparently,
So,
continue.
So what
So
so
after
what
you
was-
get killed,
what was I saying before I got cut off?
let's say you were talking about the One Nation girl who put you as second preference.
Yeah, no, I thank Amber for that. And so,
Yeah.
anyway, our new How to Vote cards came, and our
Yeah,
reputation was just tarnished. Every time I gave out the How to Vote cards, they're like, "No, you're preferencing teals." Like all the people in the
Was
public.
that
I was like,
was that a decision that was made across the board, or was it just because that was per electorate, or whose decision was that to make the preferences?
So basically, the preferences apparently Clive and the top people in the party. Apparently, Clive went to Parliament to cut deals with the parties. Was saying,
Okay.
"Oh yeah, look, Clive and the people in the party worked hard to pick the preferences, and then for the first 3 days, they uploaded our How to Vote cards, and we were preferencing Teals and Teal Independents." And I was like, okay, it was such a mistake. Now, I'm not saying that it, and I'm not trying to make an accusation because but they uploaded it for a couple of days and it just
Right.
didn't make sense. And then they're like, oh, we were sabotaged by the printing company. It's like, but before you upload all your How to Vote cards, you need to quadruple check to
Yeah.
make sure they are accurate. And
Yeah.
then all of a sudden, we were told, oh, just hand them out anyway. I'm just like, okay, what's going on? And
Mm.
so
You're going in circles. You told us this part.
No, it's
Yeah.
okay.
it cut out. And yeah, so from there, we started handing out the How to Vote cards. And my reputation from there is when we were handing them out, everyone just refused to take it. Like there were like a lot of
2 weeks.
people that were.
So the
willing
council's
to
giving
take
him a
that, and-
fortnight to get his signs. So I'm talking to Courtney. Go on.
No worries. We had some people in the public that were conservative. They just took it. But the moment the news said that, we were preferencing teals and all that, our reputation plummeted. I
Yeah.
had so many people that said, I was going to vote for you, but you're preferencing teals. I'm like, no, they're fixing it up. And,
I don't know. I'm first it was the text messages. Now it's the teals. I'm starting to hear excuses here, Phil.
yeah, well, here's the
The
thing.
truth is, you're just a racist.
Can I be honest with you? Can I be honest with you?
The
That's-
artwork works
that's-
all the time. Works best.
I understand the frustration because that's what people were saying to me is that how can we believe you? You should have been on the ball. And I said, I agree. There was a lot of issues. And I think the fact that when Jason Smart backed out, it called out a lot of the issues in the party. And to be honest, I think. And I need to whistleblow here for one thing. When I went to the party launch, I spoke to Senator Ralph Babette about my preferences. And I said to Senator Ralph Babette, why are we preferencing a teal? And he said, oh, well, look, everyone in the party worked tirelessly to pick those preferences. And the reason why they are picking those preferences is because it gives you a better chance to win. And he actually went through it with me. I'm like, okay. And then all of a sudden, when we had backlash from the media, and Jason Smart backing out of the race, Clive on their live group chat said, we were compromised. And it's like, okay, come to think about it, in my opinion, I don't know if we weren't compromised. Maybe it was just a backlash and Clive Palmer backed off from it.
Yeah.
And also talking to the guy from the printing company going, I didn't compromise anything. I only got sent stuff from the party and I printed it.
Yeah.
Wait, he
'Cause I was
said.
gonna-
Wait, didn't Clive Palmer say you guys were sabotaged?
Yes.
Oh well, maybe he was right. Maybe someone in the party had sabotaged, or a volunteer, whoever was in control, and they
Well, he said
accidentally
at
put the wrong.
first,
printing thing.
He said it was the printing company, and then I asked the printing company, and they said no.
Maybe that's what the person who told him that. But anyway, Jackson wanted to say something really desperately. He's hanging
Go,
his head
Jackson.
up high.
No, it's okay because
No, you're good.
No,
Now I'm done.
No, so I heard a rumor going around, like, because I listened to the Chaser. I don't know if you're aware of the Chaser, but like there are satirical.
He knows what the Chasers' war on everything is.
Yeah,
But I don't think he listens to their podcast
no, that's
or
fair.
their thing.
So
Do you feel?
that's my only way into politics because like I do like to know a little bit what's going on, but
Oh,
not
you should
too
listen to
much.
Ben Shapiro. He's amazing.
Yeah, but Ben Shapiro's American, not Australian.
Hey, Jackson, what's your question?
I'm just
So
listen
my-
to
so
Friendly
my-
Geordies,
I heard a
Jackson.
rumor. Now, I
Friendly
don't know if you-
Geordies.
I don't know.
Jackson, what's your
Yeah,
question?
shut up, I'm trying to get there. Now, the rumor I heard there was, I don't know if I can't remember if the Chaser guys mentioned about, but apparently one of the main goals behind the party of the Trumpets of Patriots was to steal votes from the Liberals. Is that...
I told you that.
Yes.
Just bef-
Yes. So
And that's
our
after
approach-
seeing Phil's post. Continue,
Yes.
Phil.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah,
And
okay.
more conservative, and trying to educate people through the ads with Sue Ellen to say, hey, this is what's going on.
Okay,
We
fair
need to wake up.
Okay.
The China thing.
Yeah.
The China, the base that apparently is owned by a Chinese company or something like that.
But look, I would like to finish with what happened next with how the votes. We had eventually, handing out all these how to vote cards. It was difficult. I would also like to bring up when I hung up, I had a lot of volunteers hang up a lot of signs all over the electorate of Casey. And then what happened, we got told that we had to take it down because we had to pay, I think it was a $250 fee to hang up signs and declare where they all were. I'm like, I
really?
understand.
Oh,
Yeah,
you told me about
I
this.
had to drive because they said, no, you have to take him down. And a school principal was like, oh, they hung up on my school. And I'm like, okay, where are they? They're on the level crossing. I'm like, wait a minute. And I drive
That's
around.
not part of the school.
Yeah, and it's funny, the fact
Public
that
property.
yeah, exactly. And then there are other parties that were doing it too. So the fact that my volunteers were so pissed off, they said, "No, we're not helping you because the party's not sticking up for you." And I was like, "You know what? You're right." So I called and I said, "What's going on?" And I had to admit, what the guy from the Trumpet of Patriots that spoke to the principal gave it to him and said, "Well, if you don't like the sign, just take it down." And he's like,
No, don't
"I
say
can't
that.
take the sign down." But I had to remain
Don't tell
respectful.
them to take it down. Tell them to get stuffed. It's public property. We can put our signs where we want. Get stuffed.
Yeah, but the funny thing is, the party told me to go there and take it down. So I had to drive pretty much 4.5 hours to 5 hours driving around taking signs down. And that made me lose nearly 80% of my volunteers because they were like, you know what? Screw this. The party's not fighting for you. We're nothing against you, Phil. We believe in you. But the party doesn't believe in you. The fact that they made you do that. Sorry, we can't be a part of it. And you know what? I thanked them and I appreciated it. And I was quite angry.
I'd be annoyed. I'd be annoyed at all of them. I'd be
Yeah.
pissed off. I'd be pissed
Look,
off
at
at
the end of
everybody.
the day, Troy,
Phil.
if you were in that leadership position and
Phil.
your volunteers worked hours and hours driving around, spending their own petrol to put that up, and just to get told that the party wasn't willing to fight for you, then I would have lost my motivation saying, I respect you, but I don't respect the party for doing that. I'm sorry.
I
If
would
they're
have
not-
gotten angry. Would have gotten annoyed. I would have yelled at them, the volunteers and the party. I would have felt the rage. It would have been building up inside. Now, continue, Phil.
So
It's okay, Phil. I've got the power to mute him, so it's okay.
thank you. Thank you, Jackson.
You're welcome.
So yeah. Yeah, I think we can kind of
His lip read him. Sorry.
You're serious. Fuck you. Are you get fucked, Jackson? I'm in control next time. You can get fucked.
so,
All right. I'm
I
adding
just-
a little bit of humor to this, and
So,
all you had to do was continue, Phil, and say, "Yeah, I was getting really mad." But continue. Yes, tell us more. So your volunteers had to take some signs down. Why didn't you tell your
I had
volunteers
to
not?
take the
Why
signs
didn't you tell your volunteers not to take the signs down?
No, because
Why did the party tell you to take the signs down? Because other people complained.
Yes, other people complained.
Was it on public property? Were the signs on public property?
One of them was on near a school crossing, I believe. And
That's public property, isn't it? Is that considered part of the school or public property?
I'm not too sure, to be honest. Some people are saying it's public or it's school, but the school principal just complained. And
Well, that's great, but of course people are going to complain. That doesn't mean you take your signs down. You take your signs down out of
What are they going
people's
to do, though?
yards if
What are
they
they going to
complain.
do? Deface it?
Exactly. So,
That's it.
like,
yeah, and so anyway,
why did the party tell you to take the signs down? Was it the council that was complaining or the public?
because they called the Australian Electoral Commission saying we're angry. You know that school level crossings aren't a part of it. It's on school property when it's actually
Not. Yeah.
come to think about it, they're not. They're on the road.
Well, it's that's why I'm asking, because it could technically still be part of the school because it's leading to the school. But what you do is you put it on a stop sign that's near it or in the same area.
There were two small signs, and look, I travelled like 5 hours taking all the signs down because apparently the council said, "Oh, you didn't pay the fee to put up all your signs," and I was like, "Are you kidding me?"
Well, can't you just pay the fee then and there, or did they have to get processed or something?
I think it was like you had to get processed, and so the party were like, "Yeah, you better take them down," and so I travelled around, and I was so angry. I was like, "You got to be kidding me." And that's where I started having frustrations with the party, thinking, we have a billionaire who's the chairman. I just felt like the little bit, like from then and there, I felt the lack of support. I was so angry. And when I got home, I was tired. I was just like, okay, I'm not feeling the support. And I just wanted to say the leader of our party, James Uncles, who was running for the Senate, he was amazing. I shared my frustration.
I thought that woman was the leader of the party. Sue Allen.
Sue Allen was the leader. We had the leader of Victoria who was running for the Senate, James Uncles.
Okay.
So James Uncle, I called him and I said, this is ridiculous. And I shared my frustrations, and he listened to me. He took the time, and I think he gave me a little bit more motivation at the end of having a chat with him, and it was great. And so that gave me a little bit more of that kind of patriotic feel. Okay, let's keep going. But it was difficult. I couldn't get my name out there. The fact that I couldn't put up a sign, I couldn't campaign properly. I couldn't go to a lot of those forums, even though they said yes, but Sue Allen and others had to go through it. And that I pretty much found out about those forums like last minute. Like I had this like how to vote thing, build. It was called the Build the Ballot, and it was by someone from the Socialists that was holding it, and I got told it's not really worth going to something if the Socialists are going there, because if it's run by a bunch of socialists, young kids, because they're pretty much only going to target you. So I understood not going to that. But
no, that would have been great. Yes, I love dealing with socialists.
I wanted to. I really wanted to.
So you like not having money, do you? you like working hard and then splitting your money between 10 other people?
And so
you like paying the humbug?
It was quite frustrating. Some candidates just ignored the rules and just went and did interviews anyway. But the fact that I was a bit anxious of like, okay, if I did something and the party found out, it was But I think I was quite disappointed with the fact that I couldn't really get my name out there besides just greeting people and getting to know people. It was hard, and the fact that we were quite unorganized in terms of that level. But if we had the freedom to say, hey, can I go on the radio? Hey, can we do this, do that? I know some other candidates did, and they just ignored the rules. But for me, I'm
confused. What were the rules? Did it have to be approved by someone higher up?
They had to be approved by Sue Allen.
Couldn't you have just called her up and gone, I want to do this?
Yes, but the issue is, by the time I got given a lot of these invites, it was pretty much too late, and I couldn't go there. So I just had to rely on social media and literally driving around to electorate, just getting my name out there. And that was the most difficult thing about it. And I just wish that, the party had a little bit more faith in its candidates to say, hey, let's do this. If, when you get chosen to run for the party, your party leader should have the faith in you to stand up and represent the nation. And that's something that I was proud to do. And unfortunately, the party were like, oh, we need to avoid media, but we have to go through Sue Allen. And It was I understand somewhat, but at the same time, have faith in your candidates, because the amount of people that actually took the time to talk to me, like I had one socialist guy that approached me, and we were talking, and he was like, "You're not what I thought. You're actually a real decent person." I said, "Oh, thank you. Well, look, at the end of the day, we might have different perspectives, but we're Australians." And that actually,
yeah, good lying. Good lying. You're
Yeah,
not a good. You're not a good person, Phil. You're an asshole.
pretty much, you know.
I'm
me
kidding.
too
I'm
well.
kidding. I'm kidding.
But the
That's a
issue
every
is,
politician, though.
I
that?
didn't.
That's
That's
my
every
position.
politician.
Well,
An
I
arsehole?
didn't.
No. No, they're. Oh, liars. Yes, they're all liars.
I just didn't like the organization.
Jackson, he could be lying to us right now.
No, but no,
No,
I'm
never
actually
do.
going to say I hated the organization. I wish that I could have traveled a lot more. We only got given a small budget of $750.
What Gold Coast breakfast wasn't enough? I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
No. I'm talking about campaigning wise. Like,
Yes, yes.
like the handbook said we had like campaign coordinators. We didn't. The campaign said that they would have our Facebook pages made for us. We had to make them. All the candidates' photos, like all their professional photos, were edited by me.
You told me that. That explains it. I thought there was something I noticed. Oh yes, I did notice some of your handiwork, Phil.
Thank you.
Was that including the Casey candidate?
Casey?
Sorry, Cardinia. Sorry, Latrobe. Sorry, Latrobe area.
Everyone in the Victorian electorate, I did for them.
Yeah, I noticed
And
something
that-
about something
one
about
thing-
that.
That's one thing that irritated me, is that we didn't have that support, and we weren't able to have our faces on the pan flute signs. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to give everybody a fighting chance and have their photo put up. And that's what I did. And I was a bit disappointed that, you know, even One Nation that didn't put in as much money as what Clive Palmer did, they were able to have pan flute signs with photos of the candidates' faces on it. It was a shame. We didn't have that. And all we had was vote one, Trumpet of Patriots. And I was just a bit disappointed. But look, I'm not putting Clive Palmer down. And like, I appreciate the fact that he flew me up to Coolum and go to the party launch. And I appreciate it. And look, I have to say, I appreciate the fact that he was very good at. Can you mute him for a second?
Yeah, sure.
I'm not. If you do it, Jackson, we're done.
Or if I do, keep
Phil,
going, Phil.
get to the point.
Shut up,
Yeah,
Troy.
we're getting you happy. You're
It's
happy that he
politician's
did all
fault.
this
This is
stuff
a-
for you.
Troy,
Don't
unless you're
blame
not
him.
aware-
The more that you
This
keep
is our
talking,
politician's
the more
fault.
I'm going to forget what I'm about to say.
Yes,
So-
correct.
So my point is, Clive Palmer is very great with his hospitality, but I think the way that he approached this election was very poor.
Yeah.
We should have been not too invasive in terms of text messages. I understand the commercials. That's great. Leave TV, because people can just turn the channel, whatever. But Australians are a lot more laid back. They don't like their spaces to be invaded. We're not America. We're not New Zealand. We're not any other
No,
country.
and I think that's a key.
Oh, we're pretty
element
close to
to-
New Zealand.
I think that's why, like, anything that's trying to be
Culture-wise.
Americanized in Australia just doesn't work very well, because as Australians, we look at
Wrong.
America and go, why do we want to be
Wrong.
like them? Just because
Wrong.
it works, it doesn't mean
You're wrong.
it'll work here.
You're wrong.
Absolutely.
A lot of it works here. Politics doesn't work here. Everything else works here. That's American.
Well,
Yes and no.
What TV shows do you watch on? What TV shows do you watch? What streaming
you got that
services?
absolutely right with what you're saying. And, you know,
Use
I
Netflix.
I think, you know, with the election, if I could personally go back and just change things, like, obviously I can't because I don't want to be a hindsighted person, but I think, you know, invading people's spaces, Australians don't like to have their spaces invaded. Six
Definitely.
text messages. Look, at the end of the day, a text message is a text message, but at the same time, when you're going in to vote, I understand maybe one or two, because I got 2 text messages from the Liberal Party, but at the same time, maybe just leave it at 2. Focus on 2 things. Don't be invasive. Australians don't like to be invaded, and I understood that. And I know that I mucked around and I giggled a little bit, you know, online to make it lighthearted, because at the end of the election, I didn't care. But I think, you know, if the party went off and just focused on their commercials, one text message, up
Yeah.
to even two text, that would have been fine. But
Definitely.
Clive Palmer was like, no, this is a strategy. And I think at the end, people just realized, no, this is getting too annoying. That the fact that our votes just plummeted.
Yeah.
I know, you know, I was watching,
Phil, I'll be honest here. The ABC predicted you guys were to get 2% of the vote, and you got 2% of the vote.
well,
They also
here's-
said the same thing about One Nation.
well,
And
One
I
Nation
think they
actually
even
did
said
better.
I think they
One
even said
Nation
the
did better.
Reigns. Oh no, they were going to get 4%. It said, and I think they got 4%.
Well, here's the thing.
I'm
you
not
know,
sure what
One
they said about
Nation-
the Greens though.
Well, One Nation actually did better than what the ABC was saying. So the fact that One Nation actually did better and projected more than us was better. And the thing is, you know, at the end of the day, it was a wonderful experience. And the biggest question, I think, did you ask me before, would I do it again, Jackson?
Yes.
Would
Vaguely.
I do it again? Personally, for Clive Palmer, absolutely not.
But for a different
here's-
party, definitely you consider it probably.
A different party, absolutely.
If they match your values and stuff.
My values is we need to put Australia first. We
Mhm.
are a herding nation and we should be a thriving nation. And the fact that we're giving our resources away for next to nothing, it just shows that our leaders they don't have our best interests at heart.
Yeah.
And the fact that I got offered the run, I think it was one of the greatest things that I had, like one of the greatest opportunities in my life. Just the
Yeah.
fact that I can get my name out there, and the fact that I can run shows that, you know, hey, I put my reputation on the line. And even though
Yeah.
at the end, you probably saw on social media, I called the party out because, you know, a lot of our votes were going to Labor, and I had to basically upload a post saying I didn't agree with what the Trumpet of Patriots have done, and yeah, I had to restore my reputation because I didn't agree with our how to vote cards, and things weren't looking great for the electorate of Casey, to the point where, you know, I called up One Nation that preferenced me, and I said, look, things aren't looking good for Aaron Violi, and
Yeah.
after meeting Aaron, I did not agree that we had Aaron Violi, the Liberal sitting member, being number 8, the very last. And
Yeah.
it wasn't looking
Can I make a point on that too?
Yes,
It's crazy
absolutely.
because I'm looking at the results for the Casey electorate. You got the second highest swing out of all
Yes.
the parties, which is
Yes.
insane.
Yes.
Because Liberals got the 4.8% swing, and then you got 3.3.
Yes.
And then yeah, so that's kind of shows what you're talking about, how people kind of like there was those who did want a bit of change, and seeing like you got a mass swing. I don't know if it's because there wasn't
It says here 2.5 to me.
3.3 on ABC News.
Well, I'm looking at the AEC,
Okay.
and it says 2.5. So
For Casey
Well,
or
maybe look at the AEC. It says 2.5 swing. It is still the highest swing. Phil, you got 3,000 votes, which is pretty good. Which is 3%, which is higher than what the actual party got overall. But what were you guys saying about Aaron? He got the lowest.
Aaron
No,
Violi.
Aaron Violi, at one point,
Liberal.
it wasn't looking very good for him.
Mhm.
And then I was a bit disappointed because my votes were actually favouring the Labor Party. And then for pretty much last minute, I was like, crap, I need to, you know, I didn't agree what was going on. And I spoke to the former candidate, Paul, who ran for One Nation. Him and I became quite close, and as well as Amberley, who ran for One Nation. We had a chat, and I was like, oh, crap. I heard...
did the Liberals get Casey?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
Wow,
so
yeah.
I immediately called Aaron Violi and
Thanked him.
messaged
I
him.
mean, and congratulated him.
Yeah, no, before everything went on, I was a bit worried because Labor was up. I was like, crap, what's going on? And so I was like, okay, I didn't agree with what happened because apparently there was a lot of preference deals done at the end, and I didn't agree with it. And so for the sake of my reputation, I said it's better for Aaron Violi to get the seat. So I did a post basically saying, hey, I'm not getting it, but I would prefer Aaron Violi. So congratulations to Aaron Violi. He is the man of the people. And at the end of the day, and I do stand by with what I said, Aaron Violi is the man of the people for the electorate of Casey. And I saw how he is with,
Yes. You
Yeah,
saw
with
that
his
he's,
So
that he's
the fact-
actually a man of the people, as you said. He
he
actually
is a man of the
represents
people. So I uploaded that 6 days ago,
Oh,
saying I'm extremely disappointed to learn that Clive Palmer has struck a preference deal with the Labor Party. This move goes against the conservative values and the principles that I and so many others were told we would be upholding during this campaign. I have personally given up a great deal of time and resources believing in our efforts would make a real difference for Australia's future. And basically explaining that I didn't agree with everything else with was going on. And so,
Did
yeah,
sorry, I
yeah.
don't mean to interrupt, but Jackson, did Jason Woods get in this time
Yeah,
with
he
us?
got in,
He did, yeah. Yeah, I don't mind him getting in. You can always trust a cop.
sometimes.
Sorry, you can always trust former cops. Current cops, it's 50-50, but former cops always have the best community in mind because they don't have the stress of the job anymore.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm just looking here. Okay, so well, that's good that he got in, I guess. Because I have a question for you. Because this, looking at just at the Casey thing, it almost kind of disappoints me because I've said this before, and I think I said it at the start, but I wanted a minority government. I didn't care if it was Labor or Liberal who got in. I just didn't want this whole like we have full power. But looking at these votes, I'm actually quite disappointed with how, just in the Casey area alone, how like almost. Like it's got 5,000 votes for Aaron and 5,000 votes for was it Naomi? Yeah.
Yeah, and
For the
look,
Labor Party. And I'm looking
I
at it going, how is that not like that should be? All the other parties should have a lot more. Like it. I'm hoping for like a bit more in the other parties. I was hoping for a lot more. You know what I mean?
yeah,
it all-
look,
it-
I'm going to be absolutely honest with you. Aaron Violi, after spending time with him and actually having conversations and everything else, he is a true man of the people and he is the real deal. And after having a great deal of time, like, handing out all the how to votes, honestly, he was the best person for the job. And that's why people elected him. So,
well, that's
yeah.
good at least. But it's just I don't really, I'm just disappointed to see there's not much more like. It's annoying to see, like you guys are saying, we're not America, we don't act like America, we don't like American politics.
Well, that's the
But we're
problem.
exactly the same with how we're like, we have preferential voting, and Phil, you wanted me to bring this up, and I wanted to bring it up. We have preferential voting for a reason. Courtney was telling me, why do people vote for major parties when you can put them as a second or third preference, and then if you're another party, or even fourth or fifth, then if the party you want doesn't get in,
Yeah.
then you get your next best thing. People are always voting against who they want in, but they should be voting who they want in and then slowly work their way towards against. And it's irritating to see how
I'm going to say it. I don't
this
like our
voting is split.
I don't like our preference system. I think it's
Yeah,
just
that sounds a bit
ridiculous.
dumb, really.
Yeah, it really is.
I don't mind the preference system, but it seems like it's being used against everyday Australians.
It is. And look, at the end of the day, it can be positive because it knocked Adam Bant out. So that's just what I would like to bring up. But
The one thing I will say though, we have an American friend named Cole, and he's from Alaska. And Alaska's, I'm not sure if it was their state or federal, but they actually brought in, they're one of the only states in America to bring in preferential voting. And he actually kind of said he prefers that system because and specifically he likes that system over just a single vote, is because if your candidate doesn't get in, or they're not in, like, if you're not voting for one of the two parties, you're essentially, according to him, you're wasting your vote.
yeah,
And I would argue against that because I know a little bit about their politics just from other
well,
shows,
look at
other
it this way.
podcasts, but
Let's say if we didn't have the preferential voting, Labor wouldn't have got in. Think about it.
Yeah.
True.
Labor only got in. Look at the 80% of the votes. Labor didn't really get in. If you think about it, it was legit. Like majority of them were just preferences.
Yeah. Okay.
What, second preferences or something?
Yeah.
That is true, but the fact is, those people still made a choice to put them as their second preference. You see what I mean? Or their next preference. So at the same time, that's the beautiful thing about preferential voting, is the fact that even if your party specifically doesn't get in, a party that has similar representation to yours can still get in. So a bunch of people who are who might have voted, they would have voted Greens and then Labor, and then Greens didn't get the vote, so it passed to Labor. So therefore, they kept in like the whole solar system, because we got to remember Liberals wanted to pull apart. And I'm not gonna get into a discussion about if we should go renewables or if not, because we could do a whole episode or even a whole podcast series about that.
Oh, absolutely.
But what I will say is, the people that wanted more solar and more renewables and wanted to vote Greens, they would have they would have more likely, I should say, voted Labor next, because Labor wanted the same thing. So it's and it means that these people still kind of get what they want.
Absolutely.
So, but it's interesting to hear that. How many preferences, like how many votes did the Liberals get as second preference, or how many votes do they get as a preference as opposed to Labor?
That's something that I would have to look into. I did know the answer the other day, but that's something I have to look into.
Do you know? So, what was the percentage? I think you already said it, but what was the percentage that Labor got as preference? How many votes did they actually get as as the first preference?
If you go online, I believe it was the highest preferences. They only got in by preferences. So, yeah, that's the issue.
Here we go. National results. I'm just looking at the AEC. New South Wales Vic, which seats are currently closed? Nope, two-party preferences. Here we go. I just clicked out of it. Two-party, because I got the
Phil,
thing.
before we do depart, because I'm not sure how much time you've got left available, and we thank you for your time.
No, thank you. And look, I just wanted to quickly say, a while ago, I just before going on, before going off. Disagreement.
You're back? I'm back?
No.
He's back.
Yeah, I'm back.
Before going off, click.
Just want to let you know.
We had. I kept joking. I took a joke too far, but Jackson, after a little while, I want to give you the opportunity where I will say nothing and you can make fun of my mum.
Oh, it's fine. I don't need to do that. I feel bad for doing that.
No. Oh, no. How about this? I'm going to give you an opportunity one time where you can make fun of me.
I'm sorry, Phil, I got to interrupt you. I am now making this the last episode of our podcast. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I warned you, Jackson. It's been good. Either I'm running the show now or we're done, because as we discussed in the previous episode, I'm the producer and you can't mute the fucking producer, Jackson. Okay? You're the editor and you don't even edit out my wife when she comes in half naked.
Well, that's not my problem.
You may continue, Phil.
No, I was just pulling your leg. But no, I just wanted to say, this experience running for federal parliament, I've learned a lot. And the fact that, I got a call from my brother saying, hey, I'm really proud of you. It was hard. And to be honest, not to get personal, but the hardest part about running for federal parliament was the fact of the lack of support I had from my family. I'm not saying I didn't have support from my wife or anything like that, but more my immediate family. It was very difficult because there was a lot of stuff that they were doing in their past that came up, because I had media reach out to me saying, hey, what's going on here? We want to ask, because when you signed up to the electorate, you claim that you weren't Aboriginal, but they're getting Aboriginal benefits. What's going on? And then the fact that I had that.
What?
No. So I don't want to go too deep into it because I want to respect my family. But it was difficult for me to go through that and just get told, like my own family reacting the way it did. I think that was the hardest part in this journey. But look, it was an absolute honor to run for parliament. It was fun. Would I do it again? Absolutely, but not under maybe a different party, never as an independent. But look, it was an opportunity of a lifetime, and I really do thank the electorate of KC, and the fact that they're still counting the votes now. I appreciate the people that voted for me. Look, at the end of the day, compared to all the votes, that over 3,000 people put their trust in you. And when you actually think about it, let's say you go in a hall and you see over 3,000 people. That's still a lot of people. Just the fact that they looked at you, looked at your name and believed in that I really appreciate it. And so you have to be humble, and also appreciate you asking the questions, Jackson, and as well as you, Troy. And honestly, I think maybe in the next couple of weeks where I can talk about certain things, I'd love to probably go back on again and
Sure.
chat with you
Definitely.
both. But yeah, look, it's been an absolute pleasure chatting to you.
Yeah,
I
'cause
mean, I wanted to experiment having a third person on this show because a lot of podcasts have 3 people. So if you want to
it's the-
become
it's
our
the meta.
third, but the problem is you'll have to give up a hour every Thursday or Friday or on the weekend.
Honestly, something here and there, I would love to jump on with you. But Jackson, just want
No,
to
no,
say,
no. I want you permanent.
uh,
I'll pay you $10 per episode.
will you charge inflation on that?
Oh no, we'll put a tariff on it maybe.
I might put a
no.
tariff on it. Yeah. I might charge I might give you like a percentage payment thing to transfer. If you want my iron ore.
There is one more final question I will ask you, Phil, and it's nothing too serious or anything, but it's what would your message to be to someone who wants to be an inspirational politician or like you wants to be in your kind of shoes where you want to stand up and make a change? What would be your advice to be to someone who wants to, who's kind of interested in politics but is not sure what to do? What would be your advice or something like that?
Definitely learn how to practice to talk in front of a group of people or like a crowd of people. Be confident. Learn how to take criticism. And like, for example, I received a lot of threats and I was attacked in person. And just the fact that when you go through that, some people will just break down. Like, some people can't take the thoughts of death threats. For me, I had my children.
I was going to say, were you physically assaulted, or was it just the threats?
More the threats, but look, I think the fact that someone mentioned my children's location, it was a scary thought, but the fact that I remained composed in person and just said, okay, thank you, while they ran away, I'm like, okay, what do I do? But look, my approach is remain strong. Remember why you're running. Remember why you put your hand up or why you said yes. And if you love this nation, expect to get backlash. But my encouragement is, while you expect that backlash, study what people are going to say. I know a lot of people go in and study their policies, which is great, but you also need to study the opposition's policies. You need to know everything. So the fact that when you're going up against someone, they're saying something, you're prepared to say something back, and they won't expect it. So study the game, be wise, and remember, be respectful as well. And that's my number one thing, is just play the game. Sometimes it is difficult where people will attack you and use your family and things against you. But at the end of the day, remember why you're running and keep that motivation there, is that I'm running because of this. And make sure you have a party and a group of people behind you that are supporting you. You need a good foundation.
Definitely. Well said.
Well, we got a couple of minutes left, so we'll add in a couple of things here and there. But we'll do 2 things. I'll say 2 things. Phil, tell me, what do you love about Australia? I love the accent.
That's it.
I mean, I could go on.
I love it because of Jackson. No, I'm joking.
I love Jackson's mum.
Don't lie to yourself.
No.
I run because of Jackson. No, I'm joking.
Fair enough.
One mum, but
no, look,
I love the big pineapple.
I love this country. I love this country. I grew up with my father running a small business and understanding how business works, and the fact that growing up, understanding that our resources and everything with what we're doing in Australia, we should manufacture it here and we should be the richest nation in the world. I believe Australia should be
We should be a thriving nation.
Well, that's what I said before. We should be a thriving nation.
And I like the beaches. I like the rocks. I like the fauna. Like the trees. We got great trees.
Boom diada, boom diada, boom diada.
What? I mean, I like kangaroos, don't you? I'd rather have kangaroos than moose. Those things, I mean, they both jump in front of cars, and they can both kill you, but moose are more likely to kill you. I was thinking of Canada there because they have mooses. And what else was I going to say? There was something else I was going to bring up before. Oh, yeah, that's right. Phil, we do a little segment at the start of the show, but we didn't really get to do it with you because Jackson wanted to jump right into it. But we do highlight of the week. My highlight of the week was I played Shadow of Mordor for an hour. And Shadow of Mordor has a nemesis system, and they're one of the only games to have the nemesis system, which means basically when you defeat an enemy or when an enemy defeats you, they remember and they get stronger and they come after you and stuff. Jackson, what were your highlights again?
My highlight was being productive. We did 2 episodes in 1 week, but according to Troy, Sunday
it's not part of the working week, so we only did 1 episode.
But anyway.
It should be, and you should have better highlights, Jackson.
Okay.
Phil,
I think that was a really good highlight. I think being productive
Thank you.
is wonderful.
I think you're a suck up, but anyway.
Oh no, I don't think I'm a suck up. I think we're mature and you're not.
I think the Greens candidate is just a great guy, and he was really respectful towards me.
Sorry,
and One Nation was very One Nation was very respectful towards me, and everyone was lovely to me. I got bullied.
Anyways, I think
Phil,
what Troy's trying to say is,
what was your highlight? Wait, Phil. First of all, did you like my highlight?
I'll give it a generous 6 out of 10.
I mean, that wasn't my main highlight. My main highlight was actually, like, I'll bring it up now, is Axel seems to be closer and closer to actually walking. But
that's beautiful.
I know.
Send me a video.
He's a beautiful. He looks like every other baby.
Except he looks like you.
Yeah. Oh, fair enough. Yeah, he looks like me. I'll send him a photo. I'll send him a photo to you, Phil.
Look,
if you wanted a photo of me, all you had to do was ask.
Honestly, the highlight for me has been this journey. I've learned a lot, and I've actually
this week specifically.
This week, it's still like
it's still
every week.
It's still in your head. You're still there.
In my head,
still in the game.
Still in the game. Like, I'm focusing back on work. I think I'm grateful for work and continuing to push through with that. Understanding things that need to be changed, and I'm grateful that I could be back home with family and spend a lot more time with my son, seeing him grow and just communicate a lot more and having that little funny, snappy attitude back. Like, hey, telling him
can he walk?
Oh, he can walk.
I'm impressed then.
Dude,
I know he's in school. I know he's in school.
But it's great to be back around the kids and my wife. So it's really good. I think, I think this election has opened my eyes in different ways a lot more. Like, look, maybe on the next podcast I can share a lot more whistleblow stuff.
Yeah, we'd look forward to it.
I absolutely will whistleblow the crap out of this, but I have to be careful how I do it. But look, I'm glad that I'm back with family. I think family's just number one at the moment.
Yeah, that's.
I wouldn't stress too much about your whistleblowing stuff, Phil. Remember, we don't have that big an audience, so we'd have to. There has to be an Australian watching us who cares enough to share what's going on and to think, "Oh, this is bad," or "Oh, this."
No, but Phil, I care. That's why I wanted to, because I wanted to get
Jackson will rat you out.
No, I appreciate it because
I meant if he says anything that he shouldn't have said is what I'm saying.
Next minute, I get like a.
I don't think what Phil
the
has
police come knocking at your door. We heard that.
I think
we heard you've been saying some stuff.
What Phil said tonight is like the lowest of, not lowest. It's like barely reached anywhere that's going to strike a nerve with anyone in the politics.
No, because you have to be careful. But
I understand. I do, because there's NDAs and whatnot that have been signed and stuff and that. But there's like it's so weird how there's like in the sports world, there's people who have been media trained to say what they can say, what they can't say, and like as someone who's not commonly into politics, they can see the aspect of that media trained. Like football players, people who they get media trained, you can see that in the ways of the politicians and what candidates can or can't say, and it's kind of like,
Sorry, you're making me think. You're making me think of the NBA where a reporter goes, "So, as a black man, how does it feel that this LeBron James?" And it's like, why would you ask me that question? That's got nothing to do with basketball.
Yeah.
I'm here to talk about basketball.
Yeah. Anyway.
I wasn't LeBron James. It was
No,
some other guy, but and it wasn't. It was I forgot what it was, but it was some other quote.
Um,
Where it was
I-
something
I
about
would-
women in basketball. He
I-
was
I
like, "Don't
would
ask me
laugh.
that question."
By the way, before I head off, I have
Mhm.
too many camping chairs still with tags on it and eskies. Who wants a free camping chair and esky?
All yours,
No.
Troy.
Yeah, sure. I'll take two. I actually do need a new esky. Has it got holes in the top of it for beers and stuff?
Yes, and it's also got like a little tap on it as well, 15 litre.
Ah, yes. Okay, but the most important thing is, does it say "Make Australia Great Again"?
No, they're all from Bunnings.
Just get a
Okay.
sticker. Just get a sticker. Print your
I
own
get those for
sticker.
free. No. Yeah, I'll take.
No,
a,
in fact,
I'll
I
take
don't
an
wanna-
esky and a camping chair.
No, I don't want to give you anything. I want to give it to Jackson so he can hold it on you.
I mean, that's fine. You can give it to Jackson. I'll end up with it in the end, regardless, because his wife will want him to throw it out because they never use it. It takes up space and it looks ugly. I know his wife pretty well.
You pretty much just summed up your whole life in a sentence.
Well, I know Jackson's wife pretty well.
No, that no one wanted you because you're ugly.
Well, then explain my wife.
Explain your baby.
Explain my Phil. Explain my baby.
Jackson,
My
you're meant to
mom
be on
thinks
my side.
my mom
Oh,
wanted
sorry.
me. That's why I was born.
Nah, Phil, it's been awesome having you on. We'll definitely get you on again in the future because we've gone for 2 hours and we can do a whole lot more. I swear. But yeah.
No,
I
it
have-
was an absolute pleasure being on, and I appreciate what you do, and I do watch you guys, and it's entertaining. But anyway,
He's
but
one of
before-
our viewers. There you go.
Yeah, so
Catch you right now.
Jackson, can you do me a favor before I go? Can you ask me how my mum's going?
Phil, how's your mum going?
Yeah, she's doing pretty well, mate.
It's great. I'm really happy to hear about that.
I'm really glad that we could, finally laugh about that.
All right, well,
I wonder how many other politics or candidates are asking their opponents about how their mum's going.
You know what, dude? I wanted to really go there, but at the end of the day,
You respect them.
you have to. And I'm at an age now where when you have kids and all that,
Yeah.
like you can't really say things like
No,
that,
that's
like
right.
as like banter. But I think if you keep saying it over and over, it can really piss someone off. But
Yeah,
but I think it's good that we can have a little bit of fun.
yeah. That's
I
it.
think you guys are being pussies. It's just a mum joke.
There's more to it, Troy, but anyway, it's fine.
No, there is.
I know. Jackson was deeply deeply
That-
disturbed.
Very quickly,
It really
awesome chatting.
hit a nerve.
No, I just want to say it was awesome chatting to both of you, but especially you, Jackson, having those questions. I really appreciate it. And when I'm allowed to talk about a lot more things, I would definitely love to bring them up and
Definitely.
pop on. Again, this was fun.
Yeah, definitely. Because I feel like the fact that you weren't allowed to do so much meaty stuff, it feels like this is like that's a shot in the foot. Like, well, what's the point?
It really was. I couldn't really get my name
Like,
out there.
Yeah, but anyway,
And I was even I even made it first on the ballot, so it was
Yeah.
very difficult.
Okay,
we'll
so
definitely
there was
let your
one
voice
more
be
thing I
yours,
wanted to
Jed.
bring up. The hats probably didn't help. The "Make Australia Great Again" hats. There was a slogan I came up with. Jackson, did I say it last episode that I thought was really good?
I don't recall.
It was like "Make Australia Rich Again" or "Make Australia Free Again." It was something that made more sense to us rather than America.
Okay, fair enough.
It was.
I didn't agree with "Make Australia Great Again." I think it's
It's great already.
in my opinion, we should go. What do you call it? Just have something to do with having Australia to be a thriving nation.
A proud nation.
I was trying to think of the. I came up with a really good one, but I can't remember what it was called.
Yeah,
it was like
like,
a great catchphrase that made more sense to us.
I didn't.
Like "Make Australia bogan again."
No, I think Australia now something. We should be a thriving nation. I
Yeah.
think just avoid the American thing because look, the fact that Clive Palmer focused on this percentage rate of people saying we should be like America. Yeah, a lot of people believe like economically we should in a way, but it doesn't necessarily mean that we have to exactly be like America.
Yeah.
Like we should have just focused on yes, we can have ideas like them, but just don't go for the full attack like America.
I remembered it. Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, but we're wrapping this up. It was "Make Australia Lucky Again" because we're the lucky country.
Were.
That was it. Nah, I still feel pretty lucky.
In my
to be
opinion,
honest.
I think
people complain, but
I think we should have
could
avoided
be
the
worse.
make Australia great. Like avoid that. I think we should have just kept to our own slogan.
I'm
And
telling
come
you,
up with something new.
or make Australia the lucky country, or
No,
get
I
Australia or something else. You know what I mean? Get us lucky again.
I think like just something like get back on track, because I think the fact that we took too much of America's kind of thing, that it just made it off-putting for Australians, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Because
100%.
we're not America. We need to be proud of this nation and put our nation first. So I think, Trumpet of Patriots putting the nation first. It was something simple, not in your face like make Australia great again, because people associate that with Donald Trump. We need to associate our party with Australia.
Yeah.
We're definitely not America. We just have two main parties. And one of them is a red color, and the other one is a blue color. And one is conservative, one is liberal.
Well done, Trey. Well, awesome chatting to you both.
I'm only teasing, Phil.
No, I
The
really
politics
appreciate
is very similar.
No, you're welcome. It's my pleasure having you on here too, because like I said, get your voice out there more, hear more of your
This is
story.
what's cool now. I think I'm done. I no longer have any connection to this world.
Sorry, it's just
I'm gonna go home
gonna
and
be
kill
muted
myself.
again.
Thank you so much.
We're wrapping it up.
Appreciate it. You guys have a good night.
You too,
take
Phil.
care.
Take care.
All right, good night. Okay, sorry, that was just going on, and I just wanted to have that lucky country thing and then be done, and then we kept going.
Because he was doing his politician spiel where they have to, that's that media training coming through where they have to say
I
they're
didn't
glad.
want to have it. I know you wanted Phil on as a guest and as guest and ask him questions, but I just wanted to have more of a conversation, but also more questions towards Phil,
That's
but
fine.
also sort of just have a bit of fun with it too.
I think next episode you'll get more opportunity to do that with him, like when we get him back on. But yeah,
We'll do a bit more. He wanted to vent, that's all he wanted to do, and you were happy just to listen to him.
because politics is a crazy world to be a part of. I swear.
I know it's a bit. I shouldn't have. He shouldn't have told me any stuff beforehand.
Yeah,
Because I heard a little bit of what's
you're
going.
spoiler alerted. You were spoiled.
Yeah, I got spoiled. I got spoiled.
That's okay. But yeah, anyway.
All right,
Yeah,
we're wrapping it up then.
See you next episode.
And it's gone.
This line is